has reversed a decision to lay off approximately 350 employees from the National Nuclear Security Administration. The sudden layoffs had predominantly affected the Pantex plant in Texas. Egypt is developing a plan to rebuild Gaza, countering a proposal to depopulate the territory and place it under U.S. control. The initiative includes creating secure areas within Gaza for temporary housing while infrastructure is restored. A senior Chinese official has toured the Thai-Myanmar border to address online scam centers operating in Myanmar. Criminal syndicates in areas bordering Thailand have conducted online scams, exploiting thousands of workers under false pretenses. A Delta Airlines flight flipped over upon landing at Toronto's Pearson Airport, resulting in injuries to 8 passengers. The aircraft arriving from Minneapolis encountered difficulties during landing, leading to the incident.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Well. Hang on. I don't know. I never know. Good morning, folks. It is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. Obviously, if you're seeing and hearing me right now, you figured out that yesterday was not indeed the last program. I make no guarantees that today won't be the last program or that we'll even make it through the entire show today. I need to start by probably explaining a little bit about yesterday, the abrupt end. Ron Kane is no longer part of the program. Here's what happened. You notice up at the front of the program, there's a little bit of a disclaimer which says the opinions expressed, blah, blah, blah. That's not a get out of jail free card, and that doesn't absolve people of responsibility. And when I say people, the only one who's really responsible here is me. My name is on all the platforms. My business is what's been built up for whatever it is over 18 years on YouTube. It's my properties that are in jeopardy when people are just spreading false information. We became a little bit of the Joe Rogan program in that 2 conspiracy theories were shared because people want to believe those are true, even though all the documentation, and I have 34 references and receipts to back this up, of both conspiracy theories that were alleged yesterday have been completely debunked. And they go through the history and origins of how the rumors got started. But I said to both GD and Ron yesterday, You guys are on the wrong program. You should be on Joe Rogan. The one thing I hate most about Joe Rogan's program is, oh, well, I heard kitty litters in classrooms. It must be true because I want it to be true. Don't bother checking it. In Ron's case, he was offended that I asked him to explain his conspiracy theory, the conspiracy theory that the Flint, Michigan water crisis was aimed at Black people, was started out as a conspiracy among the white power elite in Flint, Michigan, just to target Black people. Now that has been, as I say, completely debunked, and I said constantly, I don't doubt that systemic racism exists. I don't doubt that people can, within government, can do things nefariously, but a conspiracy to target Black people, as he put it out, it was as a racist conspiracy, a white supremacist conspiracy, however you want to frame it, that people of color were targeted in order to give them dirty water. Not the case. The case of and again, I don't want to get too deep in this. I have 34 references on that, on exactly what happened in that case. But here's the explanation that I have found in 34 online documents. Is that the city council was looking for a way to save money. The residents of the town, of the city, which are not 100% Black, it's actually like a small minority of Black, majority of Black people. It's like 60, 50, 55, 45, something like that. And the other 45 being white and Hispanic. So the city council wanted to save money by putting in a new water system. The people of the city did not want it. The city went ahead anyway. Instead of fixing the old system, they put in a new system, a cheaper system, and it screwed up their water, and people started to complain. And the governor at the time, and the mayor at the time, and the governor at the time were slow on, first of all, addressing the problem, and second of all, trying to fix the problem. And the allegations were, and I think this is probably true, and you could probably assume this is true, that they were slow because it is a predominantly minority city, a predominantly Black and Hispanic city. And if it were a white city, would they have moved faster? You can make that conjecture. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's not, oh, there was a conspiracy and they sat around and planned it. Conspiracy requires planning. It requires cooperation and intent. Now, when I brought that up to Ron and asked him, for some documentation, I don't remember, let's just shop 7 times. He said, you can count them. Go back on the tape. Let's just stop the show and just do the homework to make you happy. Yes, to make me happy. Again, this is my program. My name is on every one of these platforms. My business is attached to this. If anybody's going to get sued, I'm going to get sued. You cannot just come on here and just say whatever you feel like you want to be true and reject any questioning from me. I have the right to question anything you put forth on here. And to say I don't, and to disrespect me and just act like, well, I don't, my concerns don't matter. Let's just stop the program. Like the program was fucking going anywhere anyway. Bounced him from the room, and he decided to come back, overriding my bounce from the room. So he got removed from the team, and so that's where we stand with that. The crack cocaine stuff with Dick Gregory, it's a whole other level of debunkery. Crack cocaine was not invented by the CIA. Certainly was not invented to target Black people. The stats on that and the numbers and the data, more white people and Hispanic people actually were affected by the crack cocaine epidemic in small numbers, but small numbers meaning slightly more percentage-wise in the population. than black people were. That's just a fact. What happened in the 1980s, and I hate to take up too much time with this stuff, there was a lot of stereotyping. Uh, People were saying crack was a ghetto drug. It was only affecting black neighborhoods, which wasn't true, but it was a very racist trope in the 1980s. A guy named Len Bias, who was the #1 draft pick, I forget what team. I think he was going to Boston Celtics. I don't remember exactly, but he died of a inflamed heart, cocaine overdose, fueling more stuff about cocaine and crack cocaine is a black neighborhood thing. It's a black, and it just was not true. But it was, something that was spread and said freely by racists in America who just wanted to kind of scapegoat the black community on use of cocaine. Crack cocaine was developed in France, not in the United States. So the CIA, possibly they went over to France to say, let's test it on the Frenchies first. But the inspector generals all did a deep dive into this and found out the bottom line is what happened with the CIA is the CIA was trading cocaine with the Nicaraguan rebels during the Iran-Contra stuff. And they were dealing cocaine for money, for guns, and all this kind of stuff. And there was a trade going on. Some of that cocaine, and this was not crack cocaine, from the CIA, ended up in Oakland, California, which has a high density of black people. And some of that cocaine could have been traced, that the CIA was dealing in Nicaragua was traced from the Oakland, but it wasn't crack cocaine. First of all, it was powdered cocaine. But that's where the article that came out in 1996 came from. It was a Northern California article accusing the CIA of deciding crack cocaine to wipe out black people in Northern California. And that spread, and Dick Gregory was one of the people who spread that rumor. Inspector Generals looked into it. Absolutely not true. Again, none of the facts of the allegations bore out in any way. And there were, again, tons and tons. There's a Frontline. Frontline is a very progressive media outlet, PBS. They did a deep dive into it and just totally debunked the idea that the CIA developed crack cocaine to target minorities in the black community. Just not true, and the numbers don't bear it out in any sense. If in any way it made sense, there would be some. It failed. It failed completely because there were slightly more white and Hispanic crack cocaine addicts, users, than in the black population. So if that were the case, it totally failed, but it wasn't the case. It just wasn't the case. Bottom line is, I have the right and responsibility on this program. I am the only one who has accountability here. If somebody's going to come after anybody, they're going to come after me. And to say, well, how dare you question me? Let's just move on. What are you going to stop the program over and over again and belittle me for asking why you are saying Joe Rogan-ish things on my program? That's where we are today. Yeah. We seem to have some people in the chat room chatting away. We'll talk about any of that in a moment. So this might be the last show. Every show might be the last show because I've really kind of, and I'm not against going back to doing the show by myself if need to be. It's just that I'm not going to allow people just to irresponsibly just say shit, don't back it up, and then disrespect me when I ask them to back it up. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. I started this platform with the best of intent to help people get exposure, who needed exposure, comedians, musicians, whatever. And not putting myself out there, not putting myself in harm's way for the whims of Joe Rogan wannabes who just want to say, well, I want this to be true, therefore it is true. And if you don't believe it, you're an idiot. And just take my word for it because I don't have no absolute proof of it. That's Joe Roganism. And that's one thing we're not going to allow on here. I've ranted long enough. Tim Loss is supposed to be here in the second hour. We'll see if he shows up. We'll see if I'm still here. In the meantime, I'm just going to play a little bit of this, and then we'll see what anybody has to say about what I just had to say. Here you go.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Well, hi.
Hello there. I was busy reading. In the room with me now, surprisingly enough, are Stephen Ortiz and G.D. Fenderson. I wonder, is there a reaction to what I just said? You think I'm the bad guy for wanting to ask questions about statements that are made on my program?
Good morning, America. MyDogTV.com. Are you having a hard time with DEI? Well, you're stupid. And because you're stupid, you can benefit from DEI. DEI. Drumpf exploits ignorance. MyDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries and enjoy the suffering.
All right, let me respond to Ian. Ian, maybe Ron gets brought back on the show and given his own conspiracy hour like Stevie. First of all, Stevie's hour isn't conspiracy hour. It deals with some conspiracy stuff. But there is the agreement, and I think Stephen is absolutely fine with this, that he can question, deep question and hard question anybody who makes any kind of statements. That's what I'm talking about. The idea that, how dare you fucking question me on my conspiracy theory on your show? How dare you ask me a fucking question? Let's just stop the show. Let's just stop the show. Like the show's fucking going anywhere. That's what pissed me off about Ron. It's not the fact that he brought up his opinion. He could say, and I do this all the time. I say, this sounds like conspiratorial stuff. I don't have any proof of it. This is what I believe. You can say that. You can't come on and say, this is a fact, and if you question it, fuck you, you're an idiot. Because I said it happened, it happened. That's not going to happen here. That's the difference between what I do and what Joe Rogan does.
So my response is, it blew up, but at the end of the day, it is your show. It is your namesake. It is your ass on the line. You have the right to ask what you ask and require what you require, and at the end of the day, it's your say that goes. So I mean,
I don't require proof. I require the idea that I'm allowed to ask, and if you don't know, you can say, I don't know. You know what? I don't have any proof of this. It's just my fucking opinion. That's fine. But to ridicule me for even asking, like, how dare you ask? I know I understand, but this is my show now. It's not your show. I own it. That's basically what he said to me. He didn't say it in exact those words. I bounced him out of the room, and he just bounces himself right back in, as if, you know what you say doesn't matter. I don't care if it's your fucking show, your property. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. That's not, and with no accountability. So, you know what? I don't wish Ron any bad luck or anything bad in his life, but you can't come on here and disrespect me in that way. That's just not going to happen. I'll do the show by myself, or I won't do the show. That's as simple as that. But again, deep dive. Yeah, do your own homework. Do your own research. Is the weak way of saying, yeah, I want you to believe what I'm saying, but I'm not gonna reinforce it in any way. Just you look it up on your own. Well, I say it's true, and you must. It's on you now. If I say Stephen robbed a bank this morning, it's on me to prove Stephen not Stephen's responsibility to prove he didn't rob a bank. So there you go. I don't know. It troubled me. It bothered me all day. It's still bothering me, obviously. There were other shit going on in my life yesterday. Not that it had anything to do with my reaction to Ron in the morning. It didn't happen then. It happened afterwards. But so yesterday was not a very good day. Not a happy day around here. Tim Moss is supposed to be on. What?
Oh, I was gonna say, well, I'm sorry that you had a rough day.
Rough day.
But on the positive side of things, guests are starting to roll in for Beyond Classified. I forwarded you an email. So
you did? I didn't see that. Where? What? Who? How? Who? What? For this program, I got a request, and it's booked now for March 4th. Stephen, this is a test for you. Oh yeah, I see the one that you got. All right, cool. For this program on March 4th, we got a request. I'm going to throw this at you, Stephen, because you are probably too young to remember. Probably before your time, actually.
Probably.
The Crypt Keeper.
Oh, is that the? Well, see, I'm also a Crypt, but is he the guy? Was he the creepy puppet guy with the zombie dude?
Zombie. It was a corpse. Like
it was a corpse. Yeah. Oh, that was creepy. That was good, but that's it. Yeah.
The guy who was the producer and creator of Tales from the Crypt and the Crypt character, and wrote every word that the Crypt Keeper said and performed, will be on the program on March 4th. His name is Alex. I gotta look it up. Alan Katz. No relation to Barry. But he's not the voice of the Crypt Keeper, but he's the mind and words of the Crypt Keeper. I thought that he reached out to me. I thought that was the Crypt Keeper was pretty. I don't know. It was cool in my day. In the 80s, it was like, that's a cool thing for television to do. You didn't see characters like that introducing a show before. So
I had a bunch of baseball cards, Crypt Keeper baseball cards. I collected them.
Oh, wow. I didn't know he was around that long. So when I
it wasn't baseball, but you understand what I'm saying. Because you call them baseball cards because trading cards. I had a bunch of trading cards.
Nine Crypt Keepers to a team. I don't know.
We had the relief Crippers as well. But no, I do want to just make one correction, and then I'm going to drop the whole thing about yesterday, so to speak. Because in the way you presented it, it kind of leads people to think that I said that the CIA invented crack cocaine, and never did I say it, nor do I believe that the CIA invented crack cocaine.
Invented, targeted towards black communities. Which is you said what you said. Ian brought up Dick Gregory's conspiracy stuff, and you said
I understand all that.
His conspiracies. Not everything he said was a conspiracy theory, and the crack cocaine thing he said was true, and that he was one of the proponents of the CIA invented crack cocaine.
Well, I never said that, and I didn't. In matter of fact, I was even unaware that he even would say that, because I never heard him say that the CIA invented crack cocaine. I never heard him say that, at least back when I used to listen to him, because once he started to get a little more conspiratorial, I stopped listening to him.
All right.
I used to be, I'm gonna say, friend adjacent to him.
All right.
And when he got really conspiratorial, that went beyond my pale, and so I kind of stopped being friend adjacent.
All right. Well, fair enough. The difference between you and Ron in the way you reacted yesterday, you said, "I don't know, I don't remember," and basically that was it's been a long time since I did a deep dive, and you actually said that. Ron was saying, if you have to believe it because I say so. And what's the point of me actually digging up the actual facts on here? What are we gonna do? Stop the show? Like the show was fucking going anywhere. Just trying to fucking make me the bad guy for even asking him what's the data on this. And at that time, I had no data on it. I did a deep dive last night on it, but
I was trying to do it in real time. That's why I was like unresponsive to a lot of things because I don't. My philosophy is very simple. Only thing I have in this world is my word, and so I try very, very hard to be, to say what I mean what I say, and to be truthful about what I say and believe. And if I don't know, I don't know, and if I think I know, or if I really believe, I try real hard to prove it.
right.
So that's and I also I know I'm not afraid to be challenged. I used to back when I had my own thing going. I used to put $100 on the line for anyone that could prove me wrong about anything I had said was a fact.
Wow.
And in 2 years, no one collected on the $100.
Wow.
40 people proved me wrong, but they never collected. No, I'm just teasing. no one ever proved me wrong.
Ian says that's kind of what Ron does with anyone he disagrees with on anything. I tend to agree. I don't want to bash Ron, but I tend to agree. That is, I've seen that kind of attitude from him. If you don't agree with me, you're a dick, you're an asshole, and it's up to you to fucking figure out how I'm right. And I don't wish him any ill will. I don't, but that can't fly on this program. If you have an opinion and you say I strongly believe in what I believe in, here's why I believe in it, that's fine. To say that you're wrong and I'm right, and if you think Rogan has said this a million times and it fucking annoys the hell out of me. You're a fucking idiot if you don't know what I'm saying is true. No. I actually don't believe there were litter boxes in classrooms, and I look it up, and then your own guy proves you're wrong, and he never backtracks from that. And that's what happened with Ron yesterday. He basically, what are we going to do? Stop. He said to me 7 different times, well, let's just stop the show so it'll make you happy. Yeah, make me happy. Make me happy.
Well, again, now, see, I was going to drop this, but I have to push back on that. I don't think stopping the show would make you happy. I'm not sure if I know anything that makes you happy. So I would not make that claim.
That's
Throwing
true.
guys off roofs makes him happy.
I don't know that it makes him happy. It may make him feel complete, but that's not the same as happy.
That's true. Okay.
Or
That's
justified. Justification isn't the same as happy.
It would make me a little less nervous about getting my YouTube channel yanked after 18 years because somebody said something and couldn't back it up. And this is not an irrational fear. It's happened to me. I had that woman on who was talking about vaccines and God molecules and all this stuff. And basically, I pushed back on her pretty hard. And she also did not want to go into the fact-checking area or even claim why she or show data for why she believes what she believes. And YouTube banned me for a month for that infraction, even though I was pushing back as hard as I possibly could. The disclaimer does nothing as far as YouTube goes. And the other channels also probably don't fucking care. I don't even know why it's up there. To be honest with you, the disclaimer does nothing. It doesn't erase any liability or any of that kind of stuff. Now, I don't think the CIA gives a fuck about what we say here. I don't.
They were at my door last night.
I don't know, man.
Unfortunately, they were looking for my cat. They weren't looking for my. Apparently, my cat has a life that I don't know anything about because I'm sleeping
like
and
a Haitian, and they thought you might have eaten it.
I think it was like a revenge thing. I think some Haitians went missing in my neighborhood, and they blamed my cat. I think it
probably what happened.
Yeah, and the thing is, I told him, I said, it can't be my cat because first of all, my cat, she doesn't hunt, and also maybe now that my wife's out of the country, because when my wife's in the country, if my wife, sorry, Freud, if my wife is in bed, my cat is laying on her head.
Ew.
No.
If your mom is in bed, oh my god.
Well, I didn't say with me, because my mother did go to bed. Okay, my mother did sleep at some point. All right, my mother did sleep. She wasn't a vampire, and even vampires sleep. But sorry, Freud.
Do you have data to prove that your mother wasn't a vampire?
Well, she's dead now.
Oh, that proves it. That's proof,
I mean,
right?
that's most vampires aren't dead. No, you got to be careful saying that they aren't listening, because there was this TikToker
I didn't say
who
they
was
weren't
live.
listening. I said they don't.
Vampires?
Hold on. Well, you can finish your.
You said
your
probably
thought.
not.
I did
listening.
not say they weren't listening. I said I don't think they care about what we said.
That's okay.
They're
That's
listening
what
to
you
everything,
said.
even your cell phone. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because there was this TikToker yesterday who was. I saw a video about him. He was live to maybe 30 people, and he mentioned, man, I wish. He said along the lines, "I should go kill Trump," is what he said. And within like 48 hours, he had Secret Service at his door.
I've said
now,
that.
I think somebody reported it.
You know what? I honestly, because I don't own Alexa. My stepdaughter has Alexa. It's in my house. So, and when they're not home, I go over to Alexa and say, "Alexa, I'm going to kill Trump today," and nothing has happened. I just testing to see whether they're listening. So either they don't. Well, wait a minute. That doesn't prove that they're not listening. It proves that they don't take me seriously. At the very minimum, they don't take me seriously. And
well, they saw how hard it was for you to leave the house when we came to town, and they were like, "That was a lot for him." So
yeah,
I don't think this is a threat.
I'm not going to Mar-a-Lago, which, by the way, I've named Marshitopia, and I have the right to rename Mar-a-Lago, because I do. So if you don't call it that, I'm going to ban you from my press conferences. But I'm not going to DC. I'm not going to South Florida.
I don't think they took me serious either, because I remember right after 9/11, there was a rumor going around that if you said the words like president or Bush or 9/11 or bomb or Al Qaeda or anthrax on the phone, that you'd get a visit from the cops, and you'd be in trouble, and they'd be listening to you, and it never happened. I tried it.
Yeah.
In my younger days, I used to be before my throat and sinuses became a real serious issue, an impediment, a problem for me. I used to be fairly decent impressions, and back when my phone was being tapped, because I was on a watch list, I would sometimes put my phone on speaker when I was talking to someone and do voices like there was 3 of us in the room with me. And I would be talking to someone else, and I would say like, I don't think we should go through, because I knew that we were being listened to. I will talk to my friend and be very ambiguous about things. So I would say to him things like, remember that place we went to for your 40th birthday? And he go like, yeah. I go like, we should meet there next week. We should go then. How about 8:00? And he go, okay. And then I'd be in the background doing another voice going like, and then we should kill Bush. So in a different voice in the background. And then I get back close to the phone and go say, no, we're not doing that. Okay, stop it. You're going to get me in trouble. And then I'd go back and do another voice in the background, and, just to fuck with them.
I'm still back where you said 40th birthday, because that phrase made me very happy. I felt, at the time when I turned 40, it was a traumatic experience. But now looking back on it, I was a fucking kid, and so I'm still on that phrase. You said 40th birthday, 40th.
Well, I'm not sure if it was the 40th birthday. That was just a number that popped into my head. I just know that Bush was president. Bush II was president.
A nice phrase, 40th birthday. I like it.
I just know that Bush II was.
I still have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Hey, I'm an old 34. Okay. I have a body of an 80-year-old. I'm in a wheelchair. My hips hurt. My joints hurt.
Well, when the police discover that body, that's when you're in trouble. The body of these 80-year-old that you have in the closet, or in the backyard. Yesterday, there was a body discovered in the woods over here.
Was it pecked by chickens?
No, it wasn't.
Eaten by cats.
They call it a bloody murder scene. That's all. A bloody murder
scene.
Oh,
it's the turkeys. It's the turkeys. Wild turkeys will do that.
Yep.
I don't know.
To be clear, I don't want to. I want to be clear about this. I'm not trying to say that the CIA is by any way trustworthy, good guys. Anyway, not racist. I think there's certainly or anybody in Michigan's government, whatever government people have plenty of systemic racism. I think I made that clear yesterday. But I want to make sure I'm not defending the CIA. Not saying the CIA is not involved in shit, or they haven't. They discovered Matt's body murder scene. That's why he had a bad day.
That makes a lot more sense. That tracks.
No comment. But who was it yesterday? One of these fucking right-wing pundits was Steve Bannon was complaining about Elon targeting old people with Medicare and all that stuff. And he said, listen, you can't take that away. We have so many MAGA people who depend on Medicare. You can't take that away. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be able to cut all those entitlement benefits, whatever you wanted to call them. But just saying that, don't get me wrong. I would love to cut all that, but we can't. That is the attitude I have towards systemic racism in America, is that I think the CIA or lots of these groups would say, sure, I'd love to kill all the black people and all the Mexicans and all whatever. They'd love to. They just know they can't, or they can't do it in a clean way where they wouldn't get caught. So it's not that they wouldn't do it. It's just that they don't want to be responsible or held accountable for it. It's like what Bannon said. I would love to take a fucking chopping block to these people, but we can't because we need them. And
okay. Before I don't want to take the time to research this right now, but maybe Matt, when did they start calling Social Security and Medicare entitlements? Because and welfare, because it wasn't. It wasn't. When I was growing up, nobody called it entitlements. And the first time I remember hearing it being called entitlements was like during the Bush II administration. I could be wrong.
I think it was during Reagan.
I'll say maybe Reagan, because he used to say, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
He was the first one to tax Social Security. Before Reagan, it wasn't taxed, and he was the first one to float the idea that we should just get rid of it. It was an entitlement. So I'm not sure if he was the one who coined that phrase, but you know what? The old people who paid into this whole thing, who voted for MAGA, knowing that was on the table, and they had the attitude, well, you can't. You know what they would be doing? They'd be putting all these old people into poverty. And they can't do that. Like, give me a fucking break. They could do whatever they want to do, and they've been floating this idea for 40 years now. They want to, and it's not coming out of other people's tax dollars. It's the money you put into the system. It's like if you went to the bank, said, I want to open up a savings account. You put money in every week for 45 years. At the end of the 45 years, you come back and the bank and say, I'd like to take my money out. And they say, oh, no, we're giving it to Elon Musk and other billionaires. They need it more than you do. That's basically what we're hearing. And these MAGA people who just are fine with that, I guess they have some 401ks or something, but you're letting people steal your money. That's the only minorities that are destroying America right now are the billionaires. That's the minority you need to be concerned with.
Pretty much.
And this idea that
some of diversity hires. I don't know.
And the gay lizard people in Washington, D.C., you got to beware of them too.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just so now the dead people getting Social Security, the 150-year-old, that has been debunked several times. But Trump even came out yesterday. We have millions and millions and millions of people 150 years old getting Social Security checks. And then he started coming out with numbers. And it's like, I'm on Twitter and I'm saying, before you show me 150-year-old who's actually gotten a check written, they're still in the system. That's the problem.
Right. They're in the system, but that's for a different reason. That's more like it's
a programming. It's the language. Cobalt, I think, is the language that the stuff was written in, and it doesn't erase the records, but that doesn't mean they got a check.
Right.
And I'm like, before you show me one check,
that was written to a 150-year-old. Show me one Haitian eating a fucking dog, or show me one fucking kid that went to school as a boy and came home a girl. I want to show me that before we move on to like showing the check, because how many of the fucking lies that they spread were just so fucking ridiculous and obviously questionable right from the start, that they never tried to even back up. They never even tried to show you one fucking Haitian eating a
Here's
dog.
my question. If these so-called, dead people are getting all these benefits, right? Without reevaluations every month, but then somebody like me who's alive, who re-verifies every year, can get my shit cut off because I don't verify like a bank account. How are these people getting away with it without having to verify anything?
Because you're talking about disability, would not retirement, Social Security.
Oh, okay.
Once you turn 65, you don't have to re-verify every year.
That blows my mind. That
Why?
still blows my mind.
I'm
not going to wake up tomorrow better.
No, it's separate from the disability program. So for the people who reach retirement age, that again is analogous to a bank account. We put that money in with the promise that the government would give it back to us when we turn 65 as a safety net, and now they're saying, so why should I have to re-verify to get my money back? Money I paid in.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But the idea now. Musk is saying he saved trillions of dollars by eliminating these 150-year-olds getting checks. Well, doesn't that, if that were true, doesn't that mean you can back off now that the program is, if you get rid of all these supposed millions of 150-year-olds getting checks every month, doesn't that make the program solvent now, and you can back off and don't touch it anymore now that you got rid of the dead people?
I don't think so, because I think they're looking for $4 trillion to cover their tax cut for the rich.
Right.
That's how much they need. Right. Of course, it's not all at one time. It's over a period of 10 years maybe.
Right.
But they're still looking for so that tax cut is going to be like estimated at $4 trillion, costing us $4 trillion. So that's what they got to save if they're going to do a pay for, which they're not going to do a pay for. And that's why Trump asked, what's his face, Mike Johnson, to try to give him a $4 trillion, like over the, like a bounce check thing, so he could go $4 trillion over the budget.
Yeah. Well, again, a couple of weeks ago anyway, I did ask the Republicans who are still, and there's probably only a handful of people who actually call themselves Republicans who read what I have to say. Explain to me what you think the Republican Party's principles were, because forever, at least, maybe they didn't follow through on this stuff, and obviously they didn't follow through on this stuff, but they were talking about bringing the debt down, eliminating the debt, and all this stuff. Now they're asking for $4 trillion more to raise the debt ceiling. We need to print more money. This is not a Republican. Do you forget what side you're on? It's just like, did you ever know what the espoused principles of the Republican Party were? The Reagan Republican Party, the George Bush Republican Party. Did you know what they were? Yeah.
If you're a Black Republican, I'm gonna say Eisenhower, only because when I was growing up, the philosophy was, because remember I was in the 60s when I became aware enough that my mother discussed politics with me. She says to me that as Black people, we should register Republican as an homage to Eisenhower and Lincoln, but we should vote Democrat as an homage to FDR and JFK.
That's so crazy.
Look, I was a child, okay? What do I know? And here's the thing. My mother said that to me when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
When I was 18, it came time for me to register to vote. I was going to register as a Republican, and my mother says, if you do, I will kick you out of this fucking house. So something happened in those 12 years.
Oh,
my mother never told me what happened. She just told me I couldn't be a Republican and live in that house.
Oh, I can see what happened. In hindsight being 2020, Nixon had to resign in shame. Then Ford was like the national doofus, and then he got a pardon Nixon, which was the wrong thing to do. In sake of healing the country. No, what if we healed the country, and what we'd be much better off now if Nixon had gone to jail.
Yes.
So.
And I think that's one of the things, like I said, even because I believe that Nixon did what he did. I was I watched the trials because at that time, I don't know why I was such a nerd, but I used to watch that kind of stuff on television all the time. I used to watch the news, and I was watching the trial, and I was just like so absorbed in that kind of stuff. I honestly, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know, because the other kids were watching other shows, and it's not like I didn't like cartoons. I loved cartoons. I used to watch Here's Huddles and Bugs Bunny, but when
perhaps you have a touch of the tism.
Yeah, here's the thing, and Steven, for Steven's reference, in those days it wasn't cable TV. Nobody had a digital remote. You had to actually get up and change the channel. And the cartoons were on the lesser channels, and every major network was carrying the Watergate hearings 24/7. I mean, not 24/7 because they weren't 24/7.
We went off the air at 1 a.m.
Yeah, 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. something like that. We're covering the Watergate stuff. So unless you had the energy to get up off the couch and go over and put on Bugs Bunny, you actually flipped it down.
Hey, GD, did your mom, when she wanted the channel turned, would she say, "Go turn the channel, Clicka"?
I was the channel turner. I sat closest. I sat on the floor next to the television. Everybody else sat on the sofa. On the round, we had a big round comfy chair. Oh my God, it was such a beautiful chair. And we had a round sofa in the living room. It was beautiful. It was a white round sofa, and it was covered with plastic like all of our furniture. But I sat on the floor, and I was the channel. No, no. See, I don't know when Black people stopped putting plastic on their furniture. In our house, we stopped putting plastic on the furniture because when it needed to be replaced, by the time it needed to be replaced, my father was dead, and we didn't have the money to pay for new plastic. And rather than have ripped up plastic on the furniture, my mother took all the plastic off, and then we just weren't allowed to sit in the living room anymore. I mean, if we sat in the living room, we had to sit on the floor and watch television. We couldn't sit on the furniture. Company could sit on the furniture. We could not.
You know, 1973, 1974, one of my first girlfriends, we used to have sex on my couch, but it didn't have plastic on. And she would just, we would fuck. There'd be a cum stain. She'd just turn over the fucking cushion. And like, it wasn't like.
I think that's your ex-girlfriend complaining about you telling that story.
I know.
Yeah, she's calling right now. Like, Matt,
how dare you have me admit that I had sex with you? I have a reputation.
I didn't mention her name, so she's cool for now, I think.
Well, we know that only 3 people had sex. No,
and Matt's not answering because the stain is actually a poop stain, because what happened was they hooked up after they went out to eat. He pooped on the couch and they had to flip the cushion, and he doesn't want us to find that out. So.
See, now I thought after he was done, he just rolled over and sat on the sofa and just didn't do a good job of cleaning his butt.
It's just bad.
These are all theories. I have no proof of this.
Yeah, no proof. These are not conspiracy theories. These are just, that's all it is.
What the fuck is going on with you? All right. I did a system update.
The dog?
No, this other computer. Did the Mac update to Sierra, whatever it is, 97.8.6.5.7.3 X21 version of the Mac.
Talk about Elon's kids like that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been really slow, and like the simplest things. It's just loading up Twitter, and it's taken forever. It's what's wrong with you?
Now, Matt, I have a question for you, because on Facebook a few days ago you posted a picture of what I think of you. I think it was of you smiling. I think that was a smile.
With the dog.
You had a dog in your lap, and the dog was also, I think, smiling.
Smiling.
Did you do that because the two of you had the same smile? Because there was no caption, I don't think. I think it just had the picture. I don't remember there being a caption.
Actually, I didn't. My wife did it, and I shared it. But because she was, first of all, a couple of people commented on nice smile. It's a very rare thing that I ever smile. First of all, I've had bad teeth for about 15 years now. So I don't have ever since, but I wasn't a big smiler my whole life. Basically, with the band, this is a habitual thing. Women will come over and go, like, you're not smiling enough.
Oh, I thought something on your face. No.
Yeah, come. You got to turn over the cushion.
Turn over your lip. Turn over your mustache. Turn over your mustache.
I'm just not a smiley guy. But the dog, I love the dog. It's not my dog. It's my stepdaughter's dog. And when she moves out, she's going to take the dog. The dog has never been happier. This is why she's smiling, because when she gets an apartment or wherever she lives, the dog is home all day with nobody. She sits in the apartment all day and waiting for mommy to come home and maybe take her out for a minute. Now she's living here. She's got people around all day long, people playing with her. She's in her glory. She's never had it so good. So she's dog's walking around perpetually smiling like she's stoned.
She's in dog heaven.
Yeah. So my wife took the picture because the dog now I think she wants a spoon with me.
Now, has the dog been out to
your wife or the dog?
The dog. My wife would never better not to try to spoon with me. Oh, there's a big ugly me. Holy
has
shit.
has the dog been outside to interact with the chickens?
The dog has chased the chickens a couple of times. The dog has its own little fake chicken, which it plays with in the house. And then this is the thing I try to tell my wife: if you're going to train her to bite on a fake chicken, the minute it sees a real chicken, it's going to go after it.
Right.
And that's exactly what happens. The door opens and the dog goes flying out, and the chickens go in all the directions. And then she has to bribe the chickens to come home. Now the chickens,
but they're not women. They're not coming home because that's not where they live.
They think they're home now. Well, because three of the chickens have adopted the main cat house. Remember the cat house, the cat condo I built?
Yeah.
That's out front now, and three of the chickens have now claimed that. It's like it's a timeshare, and they own it or whatever.
I think what your wife doesn't realize is that there's a phrase called room and board. Y'all are the and board because the chickens already have a room. Right. You're the and board.
Yeah. Now the chickens can hear her when she comes home. They'll hear her car door and come running from like half a mile away. You'll see the chickens running down the block like, oh, she's home. And they hear her voice and they'll come running out. Sometimes they hear her through the door. You open up the door and they all got their face up against the glass door, like, ready? Where's the food lady? So yeah, I mean, but coming back to the murder scene, there were no chickens involved in the murder scene. I just want to make that clear. It appears to be, and this is news to me, a homeless camp in the woods over here. Because rural Long Island does not have a visible homeless problem. But obviously, we have homeless people that are living in the woods.
I saw a couple camps driving through Long Island.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Like where? Like, because you stayed in the main highway.
No, there was, or maybe it was New Jersey, but it was right off. It was I was stopped on one of the exit ramps, and off to the side there was two little tents and a blue tarp up.
Yeah. So apparently, there's an encampment where this dude was found. Here's the thing: if I were a homeless person, there's no way you would get me to stay in New York. The minute they came and threw me out of my house, I'd be like headed to Florida or.
Now, do you mean New York the city or New York the state?
Either one.
Yeah, I would.
In my opinion.
I wouldn't stay anywhere north. I would go to Pablo San Lucas.
Okay, I got you. See, I was looking for a different reason, but yeah, someplace warm. I got you.
Yeah, Miami, something like that.
Now, when I was living in Florida, there were homeless people down there, but honestly, did not know they were homeless. I didn't know because at the time, every homeless person I encountered them on the bike path, and they were on bikes. And they had backpacks. And when I rode my bike, I would take a backpack also. So I was on the bike path on my bike with a backpack, and I would sit and I'd talk to these guys. I see somebody sitting at a table reading, and I talk to them, and I had no idea these were homeless people, and they had library cards. They'd go to the library to use the restroom and stuff, but I didn't know they were homeless people. I didn't find out till like a month later, and the only reason why I found out is because somebody approached me and they thought I was homeless because I looked like one of the homeless people. I had a bike, I had a backpack, and I was spending a lot of time on the trails, and I would read out there. I would read on the bike path, because it was peaceful. I didn't know that was homeless behavior in Florida.
I feel like if I was homeless, I'd murder somebody just to go to jail if I was stuck in New York.
When
I was cold.
And I found a homeless person, interacted with one by accident. I was driving on the bike path. It was like 6 in the morning, and there was a pile of newspapers thrown over a picnic table. And I was like, "Who the do this?" I said, "That's so." And there's like this. I said, "There's a trash can like 10 feet away." And so I start to grab the newspapers and to throw them away. And there was a guy underneath the newspapers. Says, "Hey!" I went, "Fuck, scared the shit out of me." I didn't know that was his blanket.
Wow.
And then I put two and two together. I saw the bicycle and the backpack and the book. I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's homeless." Homeless people go to the library, and it's all started to sink in.
Yeah, well, in New York at the time, the train station was because we had just they weren't like subways, but they were heated waiting rooms on the elevated train stations here. So the homeless people started going there, but they didn't have the decency to go out into the woods to pee or shit or something. So they used, and they weren't open bathrooms, so they would just shit or piss in there in the middle of the night. So people coming in for rush hour would be hit with the stench of urine and feces. Like, not a good thing. I don't know if they finally started policing that stuff.
I've always dreamt of going on the New York subway to experience that.
Yeah, well, Long Island was definitely had a different thing than New York City for a long time until they did those heated train stations. Before the heated train stations, they weren't a problem. The homeless people found out, oh, we could get heat and we could sleep on the bench over there and we could take a shit in a warm place. Then all of a sudden it became infested. Infested is a good word.
When I told my wife about my encounter with the homeless guy and the picnic table, she looked at me like I was an idiot. She goes, "You didn't know they were homeless?" I said, "No, I didn't know they were homeless. There was homeless people I was encountering." And because she worked for the government, she worked for the Department of Children's Services, so she was like acutely aware of the children and homelessness and families that are homeless. But because that was part of her job. But me, if I didn't specifically know somebody was homeless, I didn't assume they were homeless. If I saw them reading a book and I saw that they didn't stink, I assumed they had a home somewhere.
Yeah, it's different in the city. Inner cities, you can see them. They sit in one spot with a cup or whatever. But in the suburbs and in rural areas, it's a guessing game. Is he homeless or is he's just wearing very old clothes and hasn't showered in a while?
It's super 50-50 here too, like because you'll see people like right outside the homeless shelter, all lined up on the street, shooting up whatever. But they're wearing decent clothes. They have like decent shoes on, and like their jeans aren't covered in shit and blood. Like they're wearing decent clothes. But there's a lot of them.
That guy who I had on the program, the comedian who was living in this car with his wife, and he was a sex worker. He had it down to a science. Because Ian says in L.A., it's the same. Everyone's secretly homeless, living in cars. People living in cars. This guy had it down to a science. He would live in a Target parking lot, park the car in the parking garage, and then use the bathrooms to wash up and all that kind of stuff. So basically, he was living in Target. Not really in his car, but the car was like where he'd hang out.
Hey, if I already told my wife, I was like, look, if we end things and I'm out, I'm gonna buy a van and I'm just gonna fucking turn it into a little mini home.
Live down by the river.
Exactly. Actually, I'd probably live on like a lake or by the ocean.
Yeah,
I did that.
Yeah, I get it. Do they have rivers where you are? The Fort Wayne River?
No, there's the actually we have three rivers that run in here: the St. Joe River, the Maumee River, and There's one other.
Mommy River?
Three Rivers. There's three rivers. Three Rivers River. Yeah.
Okay, really? Because I thought Three Rivers Stadium is called Three Rivers Stadium because Three Rivers
But that's Cincinnati.
converge there. There's actually a river called Three Rivers.
There's a river that runs from Three Rivers, Michigan, down through Fort Wayne, and it runs into the Maumee River and the St. Joe River.
Those aren't the Three Rivers for the baseball stadium, though. And I think it was Cincinnati with Three Rivers, or was it Pittsburgh? One of them had the Three River Stadium.
But Pittsburgh has Three River had Three River Stadium. I think it's Heinz Stadium now.
Listen, this country got really lazy with names of things. There's got to be a dozen Three Rivers in the country.
Well, now I realize that your Three Rivers is actually named after a city. And I was thinking, and Three Rivers Stadium is named where Three Rivers converge, not after.
The Allegheny, the Susquehanna, and there was one more. Ralph kind of used to do it every time the Mets were playing.
Oh, hold on. I misspoke. We have the Maumee, St. Joseph, and Elkhart River. Those all collate here. And then the Three Rivers River comes from Three Rivers, Michigan, and it spirals through.
Three Rivers, Michigan. All right, I'm going to play some news. Why not play some news? Because why not? Tim Loss will be here or not.
It's scheduled.
If he doesn't show up, it's his loss. But he did ask last night, 9 o'clock Central Time, right? I was like, no, 10:15. No. What did I say? 9:15. I forget what I said. But anyway, he knows about it. He'll be here. News.
A senior Chinese official has toured the Thai-Myanmar border to address online scam centers operating in Myanmar. Criminal syndicates in areas bordering Thailand have conducted online scams, exploiting thousands of workers under false pretenses. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
An initial repatriation of 260 individuals from these scam centers has occurred, with potentially thousands more to follow. The crackdown is a collaborative effort between China, Thailand, and Myanmar to combat these illicit networks.
Egypt is developing a plan to rebuild Gaza, countering a proposal to depopulate the territory and place it under U.S. control. The initiative includes creating secure areas within Gaza for temporary housing while infrastructure is restored.
Discussions involve European diplomats, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, focusing on funding strategies, including an international conference. The plan aims to ensure Palestinians can remain in Gaza, establishing a non-partisan administration and a new police force, excluding Hamas. Benjamin Wright reporting.
The Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency has reversed a decision to lay off approximately 350 employees from the National Nuclear Security Administration. The sudden layoffs had predominantly affected the Pantex plant in Texas, involved in sensitive warhead reassembly. Jim Kender reports.
Officials expressed concerns that such mass firings could undermine nuclear program stability and embolden U.S. adversaries. Critics, including lawmakers and nuclear safety experts, decried the layoffs as reckless and destabilizing.
This is the latest news headlines.
The body of 18-year-old University of Colorado Boulder student Megan Trussell was discovered in a remote area of Boulder Canyon.
Authorities located her remains in rugged terrain near mile marker 40 in Boulder Canyon on February 15th. The investigation into the circumstances of her disappearance and death is ongoing. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A measles outbreak in Texas has escalated, with the number of confirmed cases rising to 48 and counting. Health officials are urging residents to ensure vaccinations are up to date to curb the spread of the disease.
The outbreak has primarily affected unvaccinated individuals, highlighting the importance of immunization. Public health campaigns are underway to educate communities about the benefits of vaccination. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A Delta Airlines flight flipped over upon landing at
Delta Airlines flight flipped over 27 years ago, and we're just reporting on it today.
Did you guys see the video of the plane flipping over, though? I sent it to you.
Yeah, everybody did.
Yeah.
I mean,
I saw it on the news, and
everybody but Al saw that footage.
I'll say Stevie Wonder's the only person I know who didn't see it.
I don't believe that he's blind. Hot take, but
that's not a hot take. That's an Eddie Murphy ripoff.
But no, I know, but I agree with him. I've seen videos where he's like checking people out or like looking at his phone, and I'm just like,
there's a video of him, like a microphone was falling, a mic stand was falling, and he catches the mic stand.
I mean, you're either Daredevil or you're not blind. Come on. Like, I'm not buying this. Come on now.
Wow. Maybe he's got hearing that can hear a mic stand fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Daredevil.
I don't know.
You got sonar.
I don't know.
Now Stevie Wonder says he was not born totally blind. He thinks he has a memory. No, he says he has a memory. That's not sure if it's real of when he was born, and he has a memory of his mother's face from when he was born. He thinks for him it's a real memory.
I think Stevie Wonder is half bat, and he clicks and he clicks, and he can see the world through sound.
Well, he could click. I mean, there are clickers out there. You know,
There are people that do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know exactly.
There's a blind skateboarder that does that. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. The news is, I mean, old news and mixed with news that doesn't make any sense at all. Now, you fire people from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and all these safety workers within the nuclear power industry, and then you just quickly change your mind. Oh, we're going to just hire you back because we just figured out we need you.
I don't know during the first week when they had their little thing, when they started firing people, and then they hired back they rescinded their first batch of firers. One of the things they said was that they were not going to fire people whose jobs were critical or safety related. That was their first week. And then like, maybe they just don't know what safety is. Is that it? Or, because first of all, I know they're lying. I know they lie all the time.
Right.
But when it's just that was such a specific thing, we will not fire safety, people. That's so specific. And then go back and fire people.
Less specific than we're not going to tax Social Security. We're going to remove tax on tip.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Specific too.
Yeah, because I'm just saying, but there's some things that are like very ambiguous. Like if they go around, we will fight for freedom. Well, freedom means different things to different people.
Yeah, right.
But if he says, I will fight for your freedom to say fuck you to the man, that's very specific.
That's true.
And then that's something you can say, wait a minute, he did not he didn't do that. But if he says I'm fighting for freedom and doesn't define freedom, and you think freedom is your right to do the X, and to them freedom is their right to rip you off and take your data and your money and enrich themselves, that's different, But when you specifically say things like that, then like I said, I think people are stupid when they let politicians or anybody get away with ambiguous statements like that in the public arena.
Yeah.
They should be, what do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by rights? What do you mean by?
I can tell you right now what we mean by freedom is shut the fuck up. That's what we mean.
Man, these Victoria's Secret ads keep getting smaller and smaller.
Are you talking about cup size or?
No, they just keep sending out smaller material.
Well, they're trying to, save money. But then, wait a minute, they mailed that to you?
Yeah. Well, not to me, to my wife. Oh, yeah, it's my wife. Yeah.
How much? I haven't bought lingerie for a woman in 40 years, probably. What? So, say you were gonna buy a gift for Valentine's Day, like whatever, a nice little nightie or whatever the fuck they buy now. How much money? Is it hundreds and hundreds of dollars?
No, I won't spend more than $50 on lingerie.
So basically, you're getting a dildo.
But the reason I won't spend a lot on lingerie is because generally speaking, it won't survive the interaction. So I'm not going to spend $500 on something to rip it up.
By the way, go to minddogtv.com/doll and you get the Stephen Ortiz sex doll.
With half the limbs missing already because he just ripped them off.
Half off.
Yeah, half off.
My current wife is not a lingerie wearer, but I do think women are sexy when they're wearing like oversized shirts and nothing else underneath.
Oh, there's something so hot about
sexier than waking up to a woman wearing your shirt.
Yeah,
it's so hot.
So I bought. So the last thing I bought that was like lingerie adjacent was I bought some black silk pajamas, and the bottoms were for me, and the top was for her. so that she could wear the long sleeve black top thing, and I could wear the black bottom and walk around with what I used to have were muscles. When I had a 4-pack then. It wasn't a 6-pack because I was in like my late 30s, early 40s. So 2 of the packs had gone already, but I still had something of a 4-pack. Now I have a keg.
Yeah, I started out with a keg, and I've never had anything but a keg. I just want to bail myself
I'm
out.
also a kegger.
I need to quickly bail myself out of something I just said. When I say a woman wearing your shirt, I don't mean GD shirt. I meant my shirt.
Right.
I don't want to wake up to a woman wearing GD shirt.
See, I think you both are a little weird.
You haven't even seen my shirt. How would you know that? You haven't even seen. Have you ever seen a woman in
not Steven's shirt either? My shirt.
Okay.
My shirt.
Okay. All right, I thought you were singling me out because it sounded like when you said GD shirt, it sounded like you were singling me out. Right. I didn't know by GD shirt you also meant Steven.
Matt, I feel like the only woman that would wear your flannel would be Ellen DeGeneres.
Flannel? Yeah, no, I don't mean this shirt. This isn't even really a shirt. This is I guess a lumberjack.
Somebody hit B. I got it.
So one of the Monty Python's people would wear it. Yeah, he's a lumberjack and he's okay, and he likes to skip and jump and press wildflowers.
Lumberjack is good with wood,
and he puts on women's clothing and hangs around in bars.
Right. I wish I was a girly just like my daddy was.
What?
Just like my dear papa.
You don't know the song, Steven. You gotta. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
We can't put it on the air because we would get like a strike.
I work all night and I sleep all day.
I'll find it now. I'll find it now. I'll send you the text, Steven.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Elon, let me come back to Elon said again yesterday that he would. Now, where does he get the authority to do this is one thing, but he said with all the savings he's finding, I don't think he's found any savings.
Right.
But he says he's going to issue a rebate check to taxpayers.
Right.
The $8,000 check?
Will be a lot. I mean, if you're finding millions and millions of dead people who were getting $2,500 a month from Social Security or whatever they were getting, I don't know what you would be putting in 1865 or whatever. But the money must be pretty significant. I mean, I'm looking forward to a hefty check then, several $1 million, right? That's what I should.
I think that's just a ruse because he's going to have your data anyway. You know, because he's raiding the Treasury data. He's like data farming the Treasury Department, Social Security. He's data farming all these places. So this is what he can say. Yeah, we did send money to you, but I don't know what happened to it because somebody must have your data and they stole your check out of your account. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a thing.
I'm just disgusted at the fact that he's wearing his son as a bulletproof shield. First of all, the White House, the glass of the White House is bulletproof, bullet resistant. The glass of the White House is bullet resistant, so he doesn't need to wear his kid on his shoulder when his back is to the glass, because that's it. If they're going to shoot, they're going to use an RPG, not a rifle.
Yeah.
So that's the kid's not going to be safe there anyway.
It turns out this woman who claims she has his 13th child, or she's pregnant with his 13th child. She hasn't had the baby yet. I don't know if that. What she lives in a $40,000 a month apartment. In
Holy! Didn't she say she wanted the kid to grow up in a normal life?
Yeah,
that's not a normal life.
Normal for her. Maybe that's normal for her. If she's fucking Elon Musk, because his apartment's probably $100,000 a month. I don't know.
She's a right-wing blogger. She was on the compound, Anthony Cumia's compound, the other day, and he kept referring to her as the Jew broad. The Jew broad.
Whoa!
And she walked off. She actually had enough of that, which is. You know what? If you're going on Anthony Cumia's show, you should expect to be dealing with racism, anti-Semitism, and all that stuff.
Is she Jewish?
I don't think Ashley McCrae or something like that. McCoy, something like that. Doesn't sound like a Jewish name.
That could be like a goy married name. Her maiden name could be like Schwartz or something.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I mean, why you don't just? Well, that's. I've been called a Jew by lots of people because I have a New York accent. Because one girl said, "Why are you Jewish people so fucking vulgar?"
I got called an N-word once.
You did?
Ninja?
No.
Nincompoop.
Oh.
Nigerian.
Yeah. Close. That's close.
Tim Loss is
Well,
here.
that's racist. to say that.
Niggardly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that means
that
cheap,
basically.
right? That's what
Minus
that
the
means.
lead.
Cheap.
Yeah, niggardly means cheap, miserly. Yeah.
No,
I got in trouble
no.
once for saying masticate. You know, masticate means chew.
It's a chew. Yeah.
Chew, yeah. Yeah, no, I got called an N-word once because of my dog. My dog's half pit bull, and he was pooping in someone's yard, and I was getting ready to pick it up, and she goes, "Oh, that's a beautiful
dog or the
dog."
poop?
The poop, and she's like, "Oh, what kind of dog is that?" And I was like, "Oh, he's a half pit, half Australian Shepherd." She goes, "Oh, you have one of those N-word dogs," and I was like, "Well, we're gonna go."
Okay,
And then she
not
was,
calling
and
you
then
one.
no. And then I was like, "All right, well, we're gonna go." And she goes, good. You and that N-word you live with. And I was like, she's Puerto Rican. She goes, you N-words are all the same. And then walked in the house. And I was like, what just happened? What?
Well, at least she had
Teach you to visit your mom. They'll teach you to visit your mom unannounced. Okay.
Stephen, why don't you introduce Tim Loss for us? Come on, do it. Do the honors.
Tim Loss
I don't know anything about him.
Tim Loss is one half or a third of the Good Old Boys comedy, right? Am I saying that right? I'm going off the top of my head, Tim, so don't come after me. He is a bad boy of comedy. He likes to go on stage and do his thing, and he'll give you shit just as much as you give him. And he's booking me as headlining in April. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tim Loss.
Good morning, Tim Loss. How are you?
I can't complain. I'm having a good morning so far. Everyone in the house has flu A, and I'm not used to that because I was a C and D student, so I'm not used to getting A's in the house. So this is a little bit different for me.
Wow.
Well, when I get a little A in the house,
my family just got over it,
home,
man.
and if I get a little A in the house, it's because my wife isn't home and another woman stepped in. But
oh yeah, my wife doesn't. No, she's from Chicago. She'll shoot you. So if you do that, so like that ain't gonna happen. No.
What part of the Central Time Zone are you in? Are you in Chicago, or where are you?
I'm way southern of that. I guess I'd be more close to St. Louis.
All right. In Illinois, though, yes?
Yeah. Still the cornfields.
So
here in Illinois.
What goes on with you as far as comedy? Are you perform in Illinois? Are you a road guy? Where do you?
I rode. Usually it's a 5 to 7 hour radius tops from where I'm at, and I book about 100 to 150 dates a year.
What's the biggest comedy scene within that 5 to 7 hour?
I guess you have your few, but you have Indiana has a scene, Ohio has a scene, you got your Chicago scene, of course. There's a small scene in Iowa that's brewing, kind of an offshoot of Central Illinois scene, and you got St. Louis, and then you got the comedy clubs of Louisville.
Now, St. Louis doesn't seem it's the one that kind of. I mean, they're not as white as like Iowa. I'm just thinking but all those other places you mentioned seem to be like a marshmallow white. No,
Ohio isn't. Ohio isn't now. Chicago isn't. Central Illinois, Marshmallow, Stay
Chicago,
Puff,
definitely.
Iowa, Stay Puff, Louisville. They got a little bit. I'm not going to be non-offensive as possible. Maybe chocolate chip if we're going by demographics. There's some, but I wouldn't say not at all. It's more progressive than you think. It's the area that's what gets you. The scenes are more progressive than the area. Usually is how it works. St. Louis and me kind of have a love-hate relationship.
I think Illinois has definitely got a more of a progressive, I don't know, atmosphere about it. But Iowa, I don't think.
Oh, you don't see. That's a lot of people think that Illinois, below probably, I'd say like even above definitely below Springfield, you're getting red as can be. We're a red state here.
Wow.
We want to succeed all the time. There's Trump flags everywhere. Like
Wow.
it's a sea of red. The reason a lot of people think that because Chicago, there's more population in Chicago.
Right,
So it's
pretty
one
much
of those
like New York. New York City
Yeah.
is very blue, and it carries the whole state blue. But the rest of the state is pretty much Long Island is as red as can be.
Right. I have stories, man. I run with a multicultural cast sometimes, and sometimes I go into these towns and they're not too appreciative, and they've told us in very colorful ways. So I've ran into that.
Like
So you just
how?
gotta keep
The colorful
like,
ways, like hey, get those brown people off the stage. Like they're colorful, like they're actually using
no,
colors.
no. See, that's the subtle racism. You might be close north. Like, hey, didn't you see our white robes? That Grand Master over there didn't like you bringing a Mexican to the show.
Wow,
that type stuff.
My grandfather was there.
I hate that hit too close. Potentially, I'm not saying these teeth do have some isms to them, but I'm trying to break the stereotype of the way I
Me
look.
too, buddy. Me too.
That's
why I wear a hat.
Ellen, hey, boom, right there. You don't want to go full. You full bald, angry white guy. People automatically jump to conclusions. So you got to soften it up a little bit.
See,
well, y'all did that to yourselves. When I was growing up, there were only 3 bald white men: Kelly Savalas, Yul Brynner, Yul Brynner, and
Matt Napo.
Well, I didn't know you back then. But the point is that I wasn't afraid of bald white guys until they invented skinheads. And then I became like, okay, every bald white guy, unless they're Yul Brynner or Telly Savalas, I can't remember the third one, then
that skinheads ruined a whole. I have to keep side hair. I look ridiculous with side hair. I look very good bald, but if I go bald, it looks like I hate most people and I don't read. And only one of those is true.
Oh yeah,
so I try to keep that.
See, now I was going for the third option. You hate reading.
Well, see, I said I don't read.
You can't read. You just hate it. Yeah.
I worked at a library. I could read. My popular video on YouTube's about the stunning critique that I have of Cormac McCarthy's legendary book Blood Meridian. I'm not for it. So
you mentioned the side hair. When I was a kid, there were lots of old men who were bald but had big, like they never cut their side hair. So if they combed it back, it was kind of passable. But when they got like in situations, that would go out and they'd have like this bozo like triangle thing on.
Like Larry from the Three Stooges.
Yeah. That's basically how all my stepdads Ed look like. So they kind of look like you, Matt, with just more side hair and a love of Motley Crue.
How many stepdads? Because you said all your stepdads?
Yeah, I have 4 stepdads, but my mom went through a run of 3 that were all named Ed. I think it was because she had a tattoo of Ed. It was just easier to find a person named Ed than remove the tattoo. We're also very poor.
Can we get your mom on the program? She's still with us.
No, she's still with us, but let's not get her on the program.
I'm Special Ed. Does that count?
No, that's what I was. They wanted to name me. They called me Special Ed because her nickname was Eddie. Because for some reason, my grandma named all her kids very weird names, and my mom's name was Valletta, but around here it was Velveeta cheese, and she didn't like that at all. So she just said, "Call me Eddie, E-T-T-E." So then she married Ed, and I was Special Ed.
You sure it wasn't Ada?
It's not.
It was Ed and Eddie.
I would have thought
as you think it is. It's I'm sorry.
I would have thought Ada.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, see, I'm not. So now we're getting into too much, but I'm the only one in my family named Loss.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Steven just made this cute Cartoon Network reference of Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and nobody got. I got it, but
I know I never put on the Cartoon Network for a second in my whole 65 years. I'll have to do it today. I'll try.
I don't think it exists anymore.
My mom was in between Eds when I was born, and
now wait a minute. Conceived or born? Was it a threesome? And she was in the middle of two Eds, or
I don't know. The court documents haven't been released yet. There might have been a cousin there. There's still videotape. Why are you getting so personal? You can check it out.
No, I just want.
I'll give you a link later. Like we can check it out. It's been blocked for your protection though.
Well, because some people can't see this because they're listening on the radio, and I just want to give them a full picture, which is why I asked some of the questions.
We're not watching videos of his mom creating him.
I'm just trying to create a full picture for the people who, I'm doing.
Okay, well, hey, if you're the guy talking, I'm Tim Loss. I basically look like if that monster that ate a Baby Ruth in the Goonies. That's me, but I went to community college.
Wow!
If you can picture that together, boom. So I eat Mr. Babe Ruth now. I don't call him Baby Ruth. I'm sophisticated. Wow. That's kind of how my look goes. And when I was between. And Loss was kind of the family name at the time. So I'm Jon Snow of the family. I'm literally, I should be at the wall. I got the name. So my mom's was Fitzgerald and Whitlow and Cruz during these times.
Now, how did Gerald feel about your mom fitting in?
My mom, as long as he gets a cut, I'm sure he's fine. I think that's how it worked.
What is Slaptail alluding to here? GD wants to hump himself, basically. What is that about? I'm
talking about having my wife being dressed in one of my shirts. I think women wearing my shirts with nothing underneath is sexy.
All right, somebody's trying to sell us bots. I don't.
Bear Love, don't show up now. Don't show up now, Bear Love. You crashed the whole show yesterday by not showing up.
Oh, by the way,
get the fuck out of here.
Let me just clear up. Bear Love was not supposed to. I was assuming that he was coming on. It was his buddy Ron Ferguson who was supposed to come on. He texted me at 11:45 my time. I'm in the back end. Where am I? Where are you guys? And it's like, well, the show ended actually a little early yesterday, but you were supposed to be here hours ago, and we're in Eastern time zone. He said he's in Mountain time zone. He insisted that Bear give him the Mountain time zone time, but he gave him the Eastern time zone time, telling him it was Mountain time. Big confusion. Bear felt bad about it. I'm so no shows happen. Ron Ferguson is the guy's name. I think he's got a big show he wanted to promote coming up, but we'll never know about it now. If Bear wants to mention it over there. What do you say?
And you got this guy. What? Sorry you had to deal with Tim Loss today. Shucks.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are cool.
Did Bear leave a question there? I don't see nothing from Bear.
No, he just says yo.
In that case, Bear, knowing those facts, I stand corrected. You're welcome to be here. I apologize.
Oh, Bear.
To the pygmies and the.
Bear Love is my Craigslist handle.
Yeah,
that's Bear Love 87. That's what I use on Craigslist.
And so, do you attract a lot of otters with that?
A lot of otters, a little bit. I'm trying to go for twinks or pop.
I just learned about otters. I never knew about otters. I had kind of a rudimentary understanding of what a bear was, but Stephen educated
I was surprised, Matt, but with that mustache, I should be surprised.
Tim, I had to teach him what bukkake was. So,
well, no, we were going way off at Craigslist lingo, and I was like, "Oh man, I got a wife. We can't be talking about college like this again."
When I was in Washington I was in Alaska with a friend of mine, and he said, we don't have any pictures of us together in Alaska. And I said, okay. He says, let's take a picture in front of that sign. And the sign said bear crossing. So I said, no, we can't take the picture here. He goes, why? And I had to explain to him what a bear was. Two guys go off.
Does crossing mean anything sexual? Like, is that sexual innuendo?
No, two guys go off to Alaska together and pose in front of a sign that says bear crossing. There's just too many things to have to try to explain away.
The memes.
Well, look, just for my edification here, because I'm not playing stupid here. I am stupid here. Two bears wouldn't get together, right? It's always got to be a bear and an otter.
No, sometimes two bears get together.
Really?
Yeah,
sometimes bears like bears.
Commercial? Come on now.
Sometimes bears and bears with otters and otters and twinks and twinks and And
I always think in terms of like masculine and feminine, like like even in a lesbian couple or a male couple, there's one that's the man and the one in.
Butt stuff is a la carte, man. You can just pick and choose what you want.
Really?
I only went to community college. I didn't even get into the frat. So
That
like,
was
we're
the gay
talking
community college, though.
We only got 2 fingers in me before I.
I'm self-educated
I'm not
on
ready
the
for
internet.
this.
I didn't go to college. I took the online courses on Pornhub.
one more thing on the gay edification here. My homoerotic edification. Otter and twink, are they the same thing?
I assume not, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not like into the details like in betweens, but I would imagine an otter is just a twink with a mustache.
Don't be checking my search history or anything, but I think they are different.
I've heard the word twink more times than I care to in this lifetime, but I always like what exactly does that mean? Because what comes to mind is just it's super effeminate, and that's what I thought.
A slender rectangle thing that's full of cream that you wouldn't mind putting some cream into.
Right, I think of Twinkies exactly.
That's a twink, and then an otter would be the same thing, but with like a mustache, I would imagine, and like a ponytail.
Oh wow! I am not going down this rabbit
Maybe
hole.
it's greased, like it's greased too, because I feel like
maybe it's because they're greasy and slippery like an otter. Yeah,
let me see. Let me just because I know this much. It's not a rabbit hole. It's more of like a gopher hole. But go ahead.
If we got any homosexuals in the
either way, it's a glory hole to me, sir. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll tap you twice on the wall when I'm done.
I did not go down. I did not want to subject my search engine to any further abuse, but I can tell you that twinks and otters, without going into any specific detail, are not the same thing.
Well, that makes sense. But you were a male dancer, so you were
without going
you worked
into
at the zoo.
detail. And what are the differences? Like what?
I don't care the differences. I mean, what the differences are, because my search engine is very sensitive, but not as sensitive as I am about my search engine.
Well,
so
I'm just thinking maybe you want to teach a course in community college.
No,
it's shockingly easy. I'm just saying, it's surprisingly easy to get a course at community college.
All right, I'll Google it. Hold on.
Yeah, I'll say I was about to say, if Ron is not coming back, then we need someone to do the dirty work and do those search engine stuff, because I am not putting my search.
The guide to gay men's body types.
Yeah, see. Yeah, don't click on it. Don't do it, Steven. Don't do it.
I have that book on my shelf, but I just don't want to get up and get it. I believe you guys at this time. So
what's the book? I'm Not Gay, My Boyfriend Is.
Okay, otters are hairier overall, still with thin to slimly athletic build.
Oh, Greg Louganis.
Yeah,
but Greg Louganis wasn't hairy though. He was clean shaven, unless that was by choice.
Was it Mark Spitz, the '70s swimmer?
So the biggest
difference had hairy, but Venus was very clean shaven.
Shouldn't know these guys' body types. You're making me question shit here.
So
on this,
Matt, just to answer my question,
I used to be a male dancer, and so we had to like be familiar with what people were requesting.
Matt, to answer your question without getting into any.
Hold on. No, we gotta stop. He just said requesting, so he had to be honest. Like, I need a Mark Spitz type. Okay, I know a guy.
When women called to hire us, they would say things like, "I want a Mark Spitz. I want a this. I wanted that. I want a Mandingo." And I was
okay.
So did you ever get? I need a chunk. I need one of those. I need one of those wrong turn looking guys from the.
You mean like someone says, "I want a Blart, was it Mall Cop guy? I want a male."
Yeah, Paul Blart. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, any Paul Blarts out there?
We didn't have any of those in our group. Everybody in our group
just telling dreams right now.
We had to be
the basics of it, Matt. Are twinks are skinny little dudes with athletic builds with no hair. Otters are the same thing but with hair.
I thought, see, you confused me because I thought otters were no hair, completely shaven. That's what.
No, that's what twinks are.
No, otters are. If you drop your Twinkie on the ground, you have pets. It gets a little hairy. Now you got an otter. Boom. You're still eating it.
I'm so
You're
glad.
you may blow it off a little bit before you put it in your mouth.
Okay, none of those references are homoerotic enough.
Twinkies, guys.
I
You know how
said
much
none of those-
Twinkies
none of-
cost? You're blowing off the Twinkie. You may be dipping it in some milk. I'm just saying it's getting eaten. You may give it to your stepkid. You know,
It's 10:30 in the
just
morning,
saying,
and we're already talking about
we
this.
have
I
gone
love
from
it.
talking about confection treats.
We have gone from DEI to full-blown homoerotic. Okay, before it was just DEI. We're just discussing diversity.
We're from DEI to GAY real quick.
This is the worst reboot of Twilight ever.
Yeah, the term full blown is homoerotic enough. All you have to say is homoerotic because full blown is included in the homoerotic.
So this Nosferatu remake from Temu is awful. Is Matt trying to get me to do it freaky
Who's
style?
sucking who? This is what I want to know.
You guys are cool.
I would like some
I
clarification.
know we hung out like this. All right, we're cool here.
We've
this
heard
is an
about
interview. You're
GD's. We've heard about GD's shaking his thing in front of the bachelorette parties or whatever he did. Can we get a circa? What time? When were we talking about? 1980, 1985? Give me a circa.
Are there photos of you performing this?
There might be a poll.
I know there are photos because people took pictures, and one woman saw me like a couple of years later in Pennsylvania, and she goes, "I recognize you," and she says, "I have a picture of you in my wallet and in her purse, rather." And she opened her purse, and she pulled out a picture of me, and and I was like, "Holy shit!" And she gave it to me, and I said, when she went to give it to me, I said, "Oh, thank you," but and I went to give it back. She said, "Oh no, I have copies." So that means she had, not only did she have one copy, she had copies of pictures of me.
My wife doesn't even have a picture of me in her fucking purse, and this lady's carrying around copies of you, ready to hand them out. Like, you don't know, meet this guy. Like,
why.
I'm sorry, dude. That's impressive. That should be on a resume, right?
Well,
not only is that
at the very
impressive,
least, a notch in your dick.
Well, that's why I got circumcised. I told you about the splitting on the foreskin. The wounds would not heal. I told you that.
This is why married dudes don't trust their chicks to go to these clubs. Dude, if I found out my wife had a picture of some dude that stripped for her in her wallet for 10 years, I'd be so pissed.
I know my wife would shred some foreskin too. She would just go and shred it like a Jewish rabbi. It's all foreskin's gone. Just she's.
I was reading a study, and now this is going to show what a fucking weird dude I am. I was reading a study the other night about circumcision and its effect on stress and anxiety in males. And it said that people who were circumcised had more stress and carried around. Guys who were had their thing cut off were more full of anxiety and prone to anxiety, depression, and severe stress disorders.
That's logical. You were born and they immediately took the tip of your dick away. I'd be a little distrusting of the world.
When he was 50. He did it when he was 50.
Well,
He has reasons. So those are fair.
Well,
again, should put on a resume. It's like I think for performance issues. It's a pretty good reason.
I think one of the reasons why, if you're circumcised, you have more stress is because when you zip your thing up in your zipper, catching the foreskin's bad, but it's not nearly as bad as the tip of your dick.
Okay, none of that tracks with me. That whole survey doesn't track. I was stressed more before I was circumcised because when you're not circumcised, there's a whole nother world of hygiene, a whole nother level of hygiene that you have to attend to. And and from the time that I was like 4 years old, when I started cleaning my own penis, because before that, your mother's bathing you, and she's the one that has to take care of
your
that kind of
stepdad
stuff.
Ed, or your stepdad Ed helps. I mean,
I didn't know my mother was coming to your house, but now that I know, my mother was.
Well, see, I kind of feel you, dude, because I look like a Ken doll. I got a fupa down there. I've ate so many cheeseburgers. I've lost my complete manhood. So I just scissor my wife now. So it's a whole different type of cleaning. There's a lot of pulling and cleaning of the folds and stuff like that. It's different,
I feel that.
but I empathize.
Right.
Yeah. So that doesn't track well. I was much more stressed much more stressed when I was uncircumcised than I was as a circumcised person. So
that's what, so that's basically what the study said. And it seemed to me, because I remember the day when I used to grow full beards, and every once in a while I would find something in the beard. Oh, look, lunch from yesterday. Did you ever find like a slice of cheese in your penal fold, whatever? What do they call it?
No, I was.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you ever find a hunk of Gouda in your dick one time?
Popcorn. Oh, popcorn from
Yeah,
the movie
what
last
the
night.
fuck? Like, some fucking better cheese down here.
No, because of the way I was raised, and because of what my doctor my pediatrician taught me when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I was anal when it came to cleaning my penis. Okay,
Wait, anal to the penis.
That's right.
Different words.
I was cleaning that thing several times a day because I just didn't want anything growing underneath of it.
Cleaning it. Okay.
Yeah, and believe me, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant.
Did you come? No, that's mozzarella.
What's anal about is anal, and it's got some dingleberries back there. I'm all saying. I'm kidding.
Now when I was when I did my first comedy special, there was an article about a guy named Garth Pemberton out of England, and he had to get an emergency circumcision because he used to put pop rocks under the skin of his foreskin between his penis and it would fizz. Well, actually, they didn't call it pop rock. Sorry, in England it's called fizz whiz.
If you get chlamydia, it does the same thing. He's just dumb. He went the wrong way about it. You just got that's like, well, yeah, we all remember the 70s. It was
Zen had to come out and tell people to quit putting Zen packs in their foreskin.
That's exactly right. FizzWiz had to come out and they had to come out with a disclaimer telling people not to put their candy under the skin of their foreskin.
How else are you going to get it into county jail? You got to put 3 or 4 pouches in your little woohoo pouch, your little with your extra helmet skin, and you can get in there. Now you got your nicotine cravings.
It seemed like
so that's how you do it. You can even sell that for some ramen noodles in county.
Right. It seemed like it might have been convenient back in the day when weed was not legal in a lot of places. If you wanted to get on a plane and bring some weed with you, that would be a good place to stash. I don't know.
There's not a lot of room.
My parents were so hippie. My parents were so pro marijuana. They did circumcise me, so I had a place to stash my weed. Like that's a new level of thinking. There, you're talking
a little like your cock. I don't know.
They're like, we don't. Jesus sees the asshole, but not the circumcision part, like the foreskin. So that's where you can hide all your dirty no-no parts.
And if you don't clean it, the dogs won't find the drugs either.
Right. And if you don't clean it, when you find the prostitute, she has a little snack too, a little pick-me-up. She's got
a little mozzarella,
joint, like a little mozzarella. She's got.
Did you come? No, that's the mozzarella. My bad.
Suddenly, we are getting inundated, especially on the radio set, where people are wishing this would be the last show.
I kind of felt that before I came on. I apologize.
Yeah. People. Last night, my wife was watching a television show where people were stuck in the emergency room. A guy was stuck inside, and he was uncircumcised, and the woman had like some piercings in her vagina.
Oh, I saw that video. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I can't imagine. Like, how I could understand. Like, sometimes things dry up and you get a little stuck. But by the time they get you to the emergency room, don't you think something would happen to make your erection go down, or something that you would just like get out? Like naturally.
His piercing got hooked on your IUD.
I can tell you guys haven't had really awkward experiences yet. Like let's say hypothetical, you have a hidden penis and you don't know what that is until you get your first blowjob, hypothetically, and a woman looks down and it goes, "What the fuck is that?" And then you guys hypothetically search what that is afterwards. So like, I don't know if you guys have really been embarrassed yet or had these tough questions.
No,
so, hypothetically, that happened to a friend of mine.
Yeah, I'm from the dinosaur age. We didn't do anything.
What? They were hidden in the jungle in the dinosaur age. You talking? They just all look like Gene Shalit penises back in the 70s. All just like, hey, 2 thumbs down.
All right.
All right. Sorry, guys. That was killer. I'm sorry. I won't stand on that. I'll die on that joke.
Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
But so the reason I wanted to circle on GD's dancing thing, because, and this has nothing to do with him dancing in front of women, but in the 80s, I'm assuming this was in the 80s, maybe it was in the 90s, but somebody came out with a meme yesterday and said it was basically, what if you had told people you were gonna go forward in time and someday Roseanne Barr would look much more attractive than Madonna, people would have said you're out of your fucking mind. But then they had the two pictures together, and to be honest with you, I don't think Roseanne is an attractive woman at all. But compared to what Madonna has done to herself, not that I ever thought Madonna was all pretty or anything, but oh my God, she's looking grotesque, and Roseanne actually looks much better than her now. So we never got to circle. Wait, let me see. Didi, what year are we talking? Years are we talking about when you were the?
I'm gonna say 85, 86, somewhere in there, because it was after Purple Rain came up, because I was using "I Would Die for You" and "I'm a Star" as part of my dance routine.
All right, we have the circle.
Well, that's when all things really recorded, before and after Purple Rain. Like,
well, that I don't have any reference as far as, I mean, that was the music I was using. If I was using,
I agree. It was a fucking awesome album, awesome fucking movie, everything. So it's like it changed the game. It's almost like Big Willie Style by Will Smith. Once that album dropped, 1997, boom, rap was never the same.
See, I have no idea.
Purple Rain. This is a good time to bring it out and replay it a little bit, because the Pope is sick, and we used to whenever the Pope dies, we sing "Papal Rain," "Papal Rain," "Papal Rain," rain being REIGN. So it's the end of the Papal Rain.
He's not dead yet. He's only being
hospitalized. Like a hit
hospitalized.
song. I'm just gonna. It sounds a little wordy. Like, do you have to? It's rain, but spelled differently.
Yeah, it's
Purple rain, but not that rain.
Papal Rain.
It's this rain.
Yeah. Now, and then when the Pope dies, the cardinals have to sit around and wait for the white smoke to come out of the chimney. If there's black smoke, it means the devil has arrived, right? Or whatever. I don't know.
Anything black means that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Wrong podcast. Wrong podcast. I don't.
No. Out of the chimney.
Right.
Anything black out of the chimney.
A black dove, there aren't black doves. They call them crows, right?
Anybody counting them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Black crows? Isn't that a band?
Counting crows.
Yeah. So
too hard to handle.
Yeah.
Tim, now what do we have for you? Do you have a website? I couldn't find anything for you.
Yeah, I'm updating the website now. timlosscomedy.com. It's going to have by the end of this week my full tour that I have in spring, which is an offshoot. I was also the creator of the comedy troupe Good Old Boys of Comedy, which had good and bad reflections, so we had to drop the name. It was a name given to us by St. Louis, because they said they kind of discredit what we were doing, saying we're just good old boys, and our audience was stupid, so we're blah blah, that rhetoric. So what I did was used it as a marketing ploy that worked really well, but also in this environment sometimes gave the crowd a different misconception of what we were really on stage and personally. So we changed that, and now it's just us three going. I've produced shows for the last 10 years, and this will be over 500 this year. So very proud of that.
Wow.
So how long have you been doing comedy?
10 years.
Oh, okay. So you started producing right out the back? Was that?
Yeah, I did everything wrong. I'm not gonna. Don't do that.
I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just.
No. I think it is. You should have. What I did is I didn't do any. I did one open mic, and then I started immediately producing shows and hosting shows. And I think hosting is one of the most important job under headlining. So I cut my teeth really well, but in those first early days, I gave some subpar shows that I could have really worked out if I just paid attention or listened to some other people. That'd be my perspective.
See, I didn't want to poo-poo the idea, because I don't know you. So, for example, when I started doing comedy, people thought I'd been doing comedy a lot longer than I had, because I had band experience, and so I was used to being in front of being in front of people and performing and talking to audiences. So even though I'd only been doing comedy for like 6 months, I had a stage presence that went back dozens of years. Plus, I used to be a stripper, so that kind of helps with the shyness. Yeah, I still don't like talking.
What I've heard, 100%, music is a good bridge because you feel very comfortable on stage, and that's half the battle with a lot of new comics. Is getting,
right. And so, if you had that background in like producing music shows, you could have taken that experience into producing comedy shows. So I didn't want to.
I was never afraid of talking to people. That wasn't my thing. Like, it was more just getting my jokes right and appropriate because they were kind of hacky at the beginning. It was like Michael Ian Black, but way worse. Like, he just like, I'm a cat. I'd be like very obscure, weird things. It was more about myself, and I needed to learn to do for comedy. I always believe, though, if you learn, bring the stage to yourself. It's a minor investment once you bring it to yourself.
I just realized something. Thanks.
Yeah.
No, I knew a comedian named Michael Black, and he used to say that I'm not that Michael Black.
Well, here's the deal. We have Michael Ian Black, right? Who is the what is he famous for? Scrubs.
Stella, Wet Hot American Summer, Troop, stuff like that.
He follows me, and I follow him on Twitter, X, whatever. But also Ian. Our evil Ian is Michael Ian Glassart, and I had them confused at some, and I wasn't sure which I was talking to when I first encountered Ian, and I was like, "Is this that guy from Scrubs?" And I don't know if he even caught up with that. Like I was making gay jokes at him and all this kind of stuff. And what was the other show he was on with the like ESP? He was partners with a black guy who was psychic or something.
Yeah, he's been in.
Psych.
He's been in tons.
What's
so
it called?
Psych?
Oh, Psych. Yeah,
Psych.
So and then there's lots of like Michael Ian Black derivatives in the names and stuff.
See, I was doing obscure like stuff that it took me a while to find my voice. It's because that's the way I could describe it. And I did, and once I found it and kind of where I went, it was easier to write jokes and tell stories. In bars where I mostly perform, it's really hard to tell long form comedy stories. You almost got to punch it up or get real quick or have that lenience with the audience. I felt so that's what I'm trying to do now. Is because I feel like I'm bar ready as a comic, but theater, I discredit a lot of my jokes because they don't work in a bar, but they could work in different settings. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Comics to comics.
Yeah. You know what? I had Annie Korsen on the evening program a couple of weeks ago. She was from Seinfeld. She played Doris Klumpus. She performs in comedy clubs, and I kept calling. I made the mistake of several times calling her a comedian. She was very offended by that, but because she calls herself a storyteller, but you're telling stories inside a comedy club. I don't know if she got the idea or the concept that storytelling is a genre or a motif of comedians, but she was offended. She didn't want to be called a comedian. She would want to be referred to as a storyteller.
Well, that's probably one of those things like who hurt you things because I'm not. I don't like. It's not that I don't like, but I'm not a comedian. I'm a humorist. But there's a distinct difference.
She said the same thing.
Yeah.
By the way, I went to storytelling. She kept adding humorist in there, and I was thinking,
if you pay my fee, I'll be whatever you want. I'll be the humorist, comedian, storyteller, PSA, benefit host. I think that's the one thing we as comedians get to bicker over the title. It's a fourth wall thing. The crowd doesn't care as long as it's a great show, and that's all that should matter. I think that some of those things we get so caught up about adjectives. Like on the poster, some guy said, "Oh, you're not in the middle. You're not a real headline."
Well, see, now I agree with everything you said.
Who cares?
I agree with everything you said. The problem is bookers don't want you to just say, "I am an funny person." Okay, but there's different styles inside of comedy. But bookers don't want to deal with that. Bookers want to pigeonhole you. Bookers want you to say, "I'm a storyteller. I do song parodies. I do dad jokes." They want that.
And I'm a prop comic.
Right.
As a booker, we all know prop comic. Come on. I mean, like, if your name ain't Mr. Carrot Top, you got to really it's a genre that's already been so hit over the head. You got to get some really good props and do it
like
really
the Dr.
good.
Reverend Jelly Roll in his Blessings for Blasphemy has some really good props.
It's all dildos.
Well, not all dildos. It's all sex toys.
And they're all tools, sir. Tools that perform a strict job.
And isn't there a
No,
talking book?
I book too, so I try to book differently.
And the talking Bible.
I booked comics from. I tried book L.A. Was it people from Trailer Park Boys, some whatever. I've tried to book them all, and I've went through the ringer. It's just I don't know if pigeonholing is more as if the booker is more finding out what their crowd likes. I wish my crowd in some of these bars would like to sit and hear a story. No, they won't, and that's the problem I'm trying to do is persuade.
You know
What we're
why?
trying to do. Well, they don't know comedy. That's why.
Well,
This is a
it's
lot of them. This is their
because
first show they've ever been to.
yeah,
They
but
don't.
at if you come into the bar at 2 a.m., you're going to get a bunch of stories from the guy sitting next to you on a bar stool anyway. So it's kind of like the storytelling is already built into the bar.
There you go. That's another. Everyone's got the. That's 100% true as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But like
And
that.
it also depends on the type of story. If you can make the story relatable to a person, because a lot of people want to hear about themselves, even if it's not about them, they want to know that they can be related to it. So if you can tell a story that can engage the people some way or another, it's more interesting.
Just about me.
It's not unheard of. I'm not saying it's unheard of. What we're talking about is elite comedy writing, though.
Yeah.
And to hold that up for 30 minutes, I got a good story I could do, but can I do that, maintain it for 30 or 60 minutes in a bar? I'm not discrediting anyone's.
It's not one story. That's 30 or 60 minutes long. It's
hey, here's what I'll say. If you ain't got a tag every 20 seconds, then you should have a tag every 20 seconds.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter if it's a bar, crowd, venue, whiner, wedding. That's a rule of thumb. If you ain't making them laugh or keeping them attention with a quip, tag, or punchline in 20 seconds, then you're telling a story. It's not a TED Talk. It's comedy. So that's, I guess that's be the blanket statement for all of that. Doesn't matter what you do if they're laughing. You could tell a story. You could be Richard Jeni and talk about Jaws 3 for 9 minutes on David Letterman and kill and be a legendary set that people still talk about. But he tagged it every 20 seconds.
Well, it sounds
and that's
like
what people forget.
Just because you just mentioned Richard Jeni, that you must be a bit of a historian for your craft, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think people. Stephen, do you know Richard Jeni's work at all? No, Richard Jeni was a fucking killer in the 80s.
He went on Carson.
Was it Richard Jeni or Richard Jeni? I don't.
Jeni.
Oh, okay.
He passed away. Big Steaming Pile of Me was his last special. I highly recommend looking at it. It's a little bit dated, but it's very good. He said something that every comic should hear and every person, a fan of comedy, say. He said this on Bob and Tom Radio back in 2003.
Oh, I know Richard Jeni. Okay.
1 minute of stage performance special time. 1 minute took about almost 10 to 50 hours to create.
Yeah.
You had to find the right word, the timing, the beat, and all that took stage time and all that. And that's when I started thinking, oh, no joke's finished. I have never finished a joke yet. I'm still working on everything in 10 years because I think we can get more funny. There's something funnier here. I need to update here. Maybe it works better here. And he went on there, saw Jaws 3, went on Carson in front of 10 million people and lambasted that movie. It's hilarious.
It is fucking great.
It's hilarious. It's the only thing I thank Joe Rogan for. He mentioned that one piece on his special. And I don't like Joe Rogan at all.
Yeah,
but he did mention
who
that
was
special.
it? Was it CK that was on there talking about that? I forget. Yeah.
Yep, that's what it was. He was talking about how, and it's legendary because it's almost like the Aristocrats. He took one topic and skewered it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he did it by doing the tagging every 20. Everyone was there, big run, punchline after punchline. I wish he got his flowers more. I really do.
Yeah. Richard Jeni killed himself. Just to bring the mood down just a little more.
If you probably did recognize, if you ever watched The Mask with Jim Carrey, he was his best friend in the bank was Richard Jeni.
Yeah. You know what? And he was on top of the world.
He was
in comedy when he decided that he just wasn't in his mind living up to whatever expectations he had of himself. He was a very bright guy. I think he was I think he was a lawyer before he got into comedy, or have
I'm
any
not
more?
entirely. I need to know more about him, but I know for a fact that it mirrors a lot of Greg Giraldo.
Yeah.
In ways too. If you know
Yeah,
Greg Giraldo.
Geraldo is this very similar, very smart
Yeah.
guy from New York City. Well educated, and got into comedy. And for some reason, no matter how successful they are, they're not satisfied with life. Life is just too much of a
Well,
down.
I think he said it best, and this is the one thing you have to. Comedy is going to give you great highs and unpredictable lows that you can't remember. It's how you deal with those lows. The highs we can deal with pretty much. It's the lows in some aspects.
Yeah.
Sometimes the highs that people can't deal with, but it's most of the time the lows, in my opinion. And he was roasting Larry the Cable Guy, and you could just tell the venom in his voice that he was roasting not a comic, a character on a radio show. And it was basically said, I'm not roasting a person. We're roasting. Who's next? SpongeBob? This isn't. And you can just tell, boom, like what he really meant.
Who's telling me I have a hard out on 11? I have a hard on at 11.
I got a nice semi.
Fine, GD, go. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't want to
just kidding. Love you, buddy.
GD is going to go circumcise his best friend now. Well,
my best friend is already circumcised. I did that when I was 50. Thank you.
Oh, all right. So you have a great day then, and go circumcise somebody. All right.
Yeah. All right. Take care now. Nice to meet you, Tim.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
He's got to get a manicure for his circumcisers.
Yeah.
So I got to get ready.
Yeah.
That's how we do it here in the South. We don't have rabbis much. So we have to get a wild
you consider
badger
yourself in the South, do you? Southern Illinois, you consider yourself in the South?
No, but they do. And I'm not willing to go through history class that they slept through just to teach them stuff.
Yeah,
that's what
for
we're in the
people where I'm
South, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, well, like for people where I'm at, he's a redneck. They're rednecks down there.
Yeah,
it's not true though.
I've lived in Indiana.
I grew up south of the Mason-Dixon. I grew up in southern Alabama, where the real rednecks are. So, so in comparison, no, in my opinion, not even close.
I was in Kentucky, and it was literally an hour and a half away, Kentucky South. They're like, "You're a city boy. You one of those Yankees."
I feel like
depends on where you're at.
Kentucky is true redneck. People don't understand where redneck came from. Kentucky, West Virginia, all those places are legitimate rednecks. We kind of substitute anything Southern or anything rebel as rednecks, and that's not the case. Redneck
but to be fault, that ain't really our fault. That's everyone that's around here. Confederate flag, Dixie loving, Waylon Jennings, Brown whip it down, Bud Light shooting. And this is how you like. It's all a marketing ploy. A lot of these people think Southern is. It's not geographic. It's more. It's a way of life.
Yeah.
Like you got people in Minnesota that probably think they're Southern now.
Absolutely.
Geography doesn't mean you're spitting facts, Matt.
But
and
the term
that was
redneck
so
grew-
last year.
The term redneck grew out of the labor movement within the coal mining industry. The red scarves they wore during the protests for collective bargaining.
I live in a town where the second largest coal mining disaster happened, which changed coal mining industry for all the time. You could actually go up.
The Bee Gees song? No. What the Bee Gees song? There's a mining disaster song, a Bee Gees song that was a big hit.
Might be. Over 100. It was right before December 20th. 130 people went to work. 119 people didn't come out of work. Wow. And it was because of a coal mining disaster that the workers there told the company and state regulations that was going to happen, and it happened. And they still didn't do anything till it happened worse in Murfreesboro, Illinois. Later on, 6 months later, that's when the state started changing regulations.
Wow.
So that's why I'm like, everyone's like, hey, you need to bring up coal mines, and Trump's doing so much for the coal. They don't realize what government regulation had, what coal mining has actually really done to their families, immediately impacting historically. And historically it's devastated not only the environment, but anyone who works with them as well. They don't
Ladies
give you
and
help.
gentlemen, what we are learning here today is that if you want to learn about history, community college is the place to go.
Because you got to find that one eccentric history teacher that maybe smells like a little bit like weed. This is all he got. This is all he has. He's like, come here. It's repeating itself. He's like, you see the white, it's like a Charlie Day meme. He's like, it's happening. Is anyone listening? And if you're the one guy that isn't falling asleep and listening, you could actually get an education. I've had 3 or 4 of those teachers that have just been wild that talked to me and like they actually traveled, and I had to find them. They weren't like easy, and you had to give a little bit of hope, but it's easy when it's there.
Community college gets a bad rap because you can learn the same things you can at Harvard in your local community college. It's just and save a whole lot of money.
That's basically it. You got to find the right ones. Make sure it's credited. We have a lot of uncredited schools around here.
Oh yeah, I fell for that one.
Yeah, and that's just debt for a piece of this paper. And hey,
I would
save your money. Go to Tim Lost Comedy right here, and I'll print you out one of those for $25 right now, all day. I'll make sure that it's a voided copy, so we don't both get in trouble. So,
I'm getting all sorts of offers to get my PhD, and online. And it's like, you know what? What's the point? There's not like I'm looking for a job or anything, but if I were using a PhD for those from a paper mill, I could print up my own. I could go into Photoshop and make a nice PhD without having to spend $1,000 at some bullshit online college to get my PhD.
Anymore, if you want to get a PhD, I can't even say it. Go to community college, then start a podcast, and then just go on Joe Rogan, and that's all you have to do. America will be like, yeah, how much horse tranquilizer do I need? Yeah. Right here, buddy. Let's do it.
Rebase that shit.
You're the 5th funniest person on Fear Factor. Tell me how to live my life. I watched some of your stuff, so you might get this. Why is, and this is just my opinion, and I'll die. Why is every Republican icon leader in politics a TV star? You got Joe Rogan, reality TV, Donald Trump, reality TV, Ronald Reagan. It's like they're mystified that these people can read off a script and lie to them so easily. They've been trained to do it. It's like they hate Hollywood so much, but then they come from Hollywood. Oh man, sorry, I had to say that. They're like, oh, I don't know how it happens.
I think, unfortunately, I think the Democrats are going to be following in their footsteps. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it seems that Jon Stewart is the front runner in the Democratic Party for 2028. I mean, a lot of people are throwing
better than The Rock, which I've heard for the last 2 years before that. Sorry,
The Rock
Matt.
runs for president and gets the nomination. I'm out.
Isn't he a right winger though?
It depends how much you're going to pay him. We all know Kevin Hart. It depends what Kevin Hart's really going to do. Is it Jumanji 3 going to tank? If it tanks, then we're going to blame it on woke Hollywood. Then he'll be a right winger.
Yeah.
So we all know that's how you do it. See, that's how you do it in entertainment. If it goes bad and you're not really good at your craft, blame leftist media. Then right wing pill media will be like, "That's awesome. You'll get a show, money, sold out tickets." It's called the Jim Brewer effect. It's really good. If you just do the Jim Brewer effect, you're good. You'll never have to go to a city again because you'll just tour from Idaho to Missouri and back and forth.
Listen, politics aside, Jim Brewer, if you look at his act, it seems like he's doing comedy for like an elementary school, like a 3rd grade audience or something. I mean, he's making Goat. Obviously, Goat Boy is his biggest comedic achievement on SNL, but he's still doing like animal sounds and stuff and just like silly faces and stuff meant for children.
And it's so transparent because his act was, hey, I'm a goofy kind of a man dad, like a man boy dad at home. Look, and I always look stoned. And then you don't hear from him in 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, don't get the jab, all leftist media, blah, blah. And it just goes nuts. And then all of a sudden he has this new podcast, the new Brewer Universe. He's on Joe Rogan. It's just like, it's basically what Jamie Kennedy is trying to do, but no one likes Jamie Kennedy. So like, that's his problem. It's like, that's why he was only in Scream 2. You know, they brought David Arquette back all 6 times, and he even divorced Courtney Cox in between this. And they're still like, we'll bring. That's how bad Jamie. They didn't even get a videotape call in for him anymore.
So Tim, do you have any shows coming up that you're looking to
Yeah, I
promote?
got a full line of it's Midwestern, so if you're kind of in like the Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky area, I'll be hitting all those areas all the way up through May. You can check out timloss.com or my Facebook profile that was tagged here, and you'll find them all tagged there. And you can go to the venues and find more information.
Are you sure?
Also, you can see Steven. He's going to be at the Rusty Gator. This is a Tim Loss production, so I got to plug this. Steven, he's going to be the sitcom Ortiz. Is going to be headlining a great cast of comics that are going to span. One's coming from Michigan all the way to Bedford, Indiana, glorious town. Maybe we'll see. It's usually pretty cool. Better than Mitchell, Indiana. Go to the Rusty Fork Gator and Ale, April 18th. It's going to be great food, double smash burger.
I was not aware that you guys were in a sexually active relationship, you and Steven. It's good to know that he's getting somewhere.
It's all wheels based. Have you ever seen the movie Crash with James Spader? It's kind of like that, but it's more wheelchair based.
Wow.
My Rascal scooter, and when I charge it up, we just kind of crash into each other.
It's a lot like an interstate accident. One of us crying at the end. Nobody wants to actually look at what's happening. Police are confused. One of us has to be drunk. One of those things.
It ends when someone says there's so much blood, and they're like, "Okay, that's good."
Blood, you say?
Yeah. I mean, that's how you know you feel alive. Have you seen the movie Crash, Matt? I don't think you've seen this Oscar award.
Crash? Yes, I have seen that.
Not that one. That one. You're thinking the Don Cheadle one about racism. Not that one. I'm talking about the James Spader one where
I didn't even know there was another one.
Oh yeah, hey, just saying. That's what me and Steven Ortiz do. April 18th, and you can see it too for only $10 at the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale, 8 p.m.
Wow.
See that segue? That's what we call pro in the industry.
I know. That's pretty good. I got to say, we need more of that. We need people. I should be that, and we'll make a clip out of that as a lesson for comics on how to promo your upcoming shows.
We turned a car accident into a promo here at Tim Loss Production.
Very good.
You can tell I have no soul. That's why I'm great at promoting. It's like, comedians like, I can't promote. It feels like I'm lying. It's like, I'll lie for you. I'm Tim Loss. Come on board. How much money you think you're worth? You're worth 4 times that. Come on down.
Wow.
I love the used car salesman vibes. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, definitely.
That's how you gotta talk to venue owners. They get sold by Bud Light. They don't have time to get to the point. This is how much would cost. We have a 90% success rate. You better act now, or I'm gonna get booked up all summer. What you got?
You can
book a comedy
show.
What?
Maybe you should incorporate whether you got a job, you got a paycheck coming in, you got a job, you'll laugh. It's not like you'll drive. No money down, just come on in. We guarantee you'll laugh on the way out.
100%. I always tell my crowd if they say they had a bad time, I'll tell everyone they lied. No one's going to ask. No one's a reporter. I'll just say we had a great time, not take pictures of the crowd. You've ever seen a comic post just pictures of people on the stage? Wow, we killed it. Everyone loved us. Yeah. No one was there. That's why you did. That's why there's not any picture. You might have one waitress of the staff. My biggest fan.
Right.
Like, we've all been there. That's comedy, guys. That's comedy.
I agree.
7-hour drive for 15 minutes of stage time.
Yep. Oh, dude, I've been there. We went to Kentucky one time. Forgot it was the time zone. It's all horrible. We go there. The bar says out of business, and immediately I was like, I don't think the comedy show is going to save this business. I think we're in for it. No one shows up, and here's the worst thing: I go on last. And the guy opening up for me, killing the bar staff, just destroying them. Like the 3 people. Oh, this guy's hilarious, and I'm like, that's way. I'm like, save some for me. There's only 3 of them. Like, come on. I'm sitting here sweating. Like, I gotta be up there 45 minutes talking to Aunt Helen about my trip to Kentucky. This is gonna be fun. All right, so that's comedy.
That's always confusing to me because sometimes somebody killing before you get to go up is a good thing. I mean, they're priming the crowd, getting them ready to laugh. But sometimes it could work against you because they're all laughed out. It's a tricky little thing to walk there. That how funny you want the person.
You're 100% correct, but I call that mental masturbation. You can't control that. If they're laughing, that's a good show overall. So what I do is I can only control me. And if I'm not funnier on that day, then I need to work better to be funny. We're
Well-
kind of paid in that situation. You can't call yourself a headliner if you're afraid of the guy before you all the time.
No, I get
You got to
it.
be better. Like, so I think of that, but you're 100% true. There is times they get laughed out and they're done, or it's a later show, or they're drunk, and you gotta circumvent that. That's a different. It's like a headliner. When a headliner complains, no one listens. Like, shut
I
the fuck
get
up.
you.
You get to
Here's a
work.
question I have around it though. If you're ready to go on, and you see the guy before you, it's just or girl or woman, it's killing it,
Happens.
just fucking killing it. Do you make adjustments on on what your opener is going to be, or do you ever rethink like what you're going to do because of the way the room is reacting in the moment?
Good question. That's actually cool. It depends. What I'll change is if she like ad-libbed or tagged the crowd. If she tagged the crowd and got a big pop, like let's say Ponytail Jerry's in the front, and he's a friendly heckler, like, "Hey, you go, girl," and he snaps, and they get back and have maybe a little rapport. Or she says something about a local town, they get a pop. I may put that in the bank and try to do that. But Mary Jane, her name's Mary Jane or Mary Sherrod. She's in California now. She used to be St. Louis. Master at this. She's master at crowd work, master at getting stuff out. Because what I learned from her is when you see crowd work, I know a pro from a novice by this. If they go, "Hey, where do you work?" You're a novice because you can't control what the question's going to be after that. Ask questions where you already know the answer to. Control them and dictate them, if that makes sense. And she would always do that. She didn't ask where you worked. She'd be like, "Sir, like, how did you get here? I saw that truck. I drove here." So she would always have a segue prepared. So she was always in control. And I feel like that's something you need to be always. There's nothing wrong being prepared, showing the illusion of crowd.
Right.
And I think
I just got a bit of breaking news there. Nuclear missiles have been launched towards New York, and I have 3 minutes to live. But other than that, it's a wonderful.
You
Wednesday.
picked a good guest. Hey, look at this.
Who's launching nukes? I want to launch nukes.
Huh?
You're being nuked. You're being nuked.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
What happens?
No, nobody's gonna miss me. It's the bombs are headed directly for me.
It's only code Mountain Dew, code red right now.
Right.
The Mountain Dew
right.
spectrum of threats. So we still got Livewire to go and Frostbite. So we're still pretty good. We haven't even reached Major Melon type levels of catastrophe. So
about 3 weeks ago or so, I posted a thing on Facebook because I was just so fucking. I follow a lot of comedians, and these people who have been in comedy for 6 months or less, always talking about how they killed, And I posted that nobody who ever says I killed actually did. The people who kill are the people who are insecure about it. Stephen kind of wasn't getting my drift about this, but in my experience, and this goes not just in comedy and show business, the better you do, the more self-conscious and the more you think you bombed, or you at least you talk like in terms that Eddie Van Halen coming off stage and telling Steve Lucas how he sucked when there were a room full of guitar players in awe of Eddie Van Halen. But you see all these guys coming off, they're in 6 minutes. Oh, I killed the other night. I did 10 minutes and I totally killed. You know that's not true. If
there's two ways to look at it too, and I guess the way you're looking at it is to us it's more looking at, maybe I'm sorry I'm bringing Steve, it's like we're all there. It's like a comic writing their first comic bike. Oh, they're shaky, they're falling down. Oh, they think they're killed.
Yeah.
And so like it's all, we don't know, but it's harder. I guess what you're saying is I like your mentality. It's how I was raised in comedy. You call it how it is. The new comedy, you gotta be more gentle.
Well,
being
also,
blunt it can hurt someone's feelings if you say, "Hey, that 7-minute joke about your asshole is probably not the best to start off the show. What do you think? And
Right.
it's hard because sometimes they really like that joke and you
Yeah.
don't know nothing and it turns into a weird thing. I've mentored a lot of comics. I've tried to help write a lot of comics. And what I've noticed more is that hinders comics is their inability to just listen to what the crowd and other people are trying to tell
Yeah, no doubt about it. And listen, just because you've only been in a short time doesn't mean you can't kill. But Henry Phillips, who is a brilliant comedian, filmmaker, Punching Henry, Punching the Clown movies. He's a friend, and he said basically the point I was trying to make. It's better to let other people sing your praises. It's better when. You don't go on Facebook and say you killed. Wait, have somebody else go on your post and say, "Man, you really killed the other night." That's worth a whole lot more than you saying, trying to convince the world that.
Oh, I like this talk. This talk's gonna be pumped. Yes, that is what we're actually doing more of now. But when I was, you can't sit here and say the other side of the coin where comedy is extremely competitive and petty.
Yeah.
So if someone does say they killed, maybe they're just trying to shout for attention when they're not being unheard either, because they are new and the hierarchy's keeping them down. We can't be naive to this.
Yeah.
Comedy mirrors wrestling a lot, in my
It
opinion.
is, yeah.
Everyone's fighting for their spot at the club. And one day, one guy could take that away if it's just funnier or it draws more. And that's the facts. And that's
Right.
the fear every comic has. It's the
Yeah.
fear we talked about. Some that have crippled some, thinking they weren't as funny and they weren't going to live up to the greats they thought they were. So, like, we are changing it. But back in the day, we were blunt, dude. Post 2000, I think 2016. I was like, I remember sending like, this video, dude. I just won a comedy competition. I'm the coolest. I need some work. I'm humble. I'll send it to a booker. The booker personally called me to tell me how much of a hack I was. I was like, wow, you could have just wrote that, but I must have been really bad to take time. He's like, hey, Martha, schedule some time. I need to ruin this kid's dreams. He lives in Illinois. He's not going to make it. So, but I needed to hear that. That's how I learned. And when I started doing that as a booker, I realized I'm the exception. It's not what other people want to hear is being blunt or
Right.
straightforward to them. And that's what I had to learn as a business person because I put too much in my comedy shows. It's my family makes the flyers. I ship my own equipment. So if you don't do something professional, I think I used to take it so personal.
Wow.
And I shouldn't because it's not their fault. I put up the electric bill back in the day for this comedy show. It's not, you get what I'm saying? It's not their fault I put so much on this to ride and have so much pressure. So I had to learn to be a better businessman and talk to people. I'm still not the best.
Yeah.
There's still, you can talk to a few people. If you say something out of pocket, I'll call you a racist and I will tell you you're not working with me anymore. If you don't make people feel safe, and I have a comment on that, I'll tell you we can't work anymore. And have I done things wrong? Yes. And I've listened to those people and tried to change the way I act and the way my shows go to reflect that. I'm not perfect. I've made tons of mistakes, but I listened to the ones that were affected in that and tried to validate their feelings and do better so no one else feels that way.
Very cool. I appreciate that. You know what? I think that is the key to everything in life is learning from your mistakes. I mean, anybody who says they don't fucking make mistakes, they're just delusional egomaniacs or whatever, narcissists, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So
my favorite story, I got myself in trouble, is the Trailer Park ones. I got the greasy caveman, Sam Losco from Trailer Park Boys, season 1 through 5. Pretty big deal for people around here that love the show. Before the show, this is post pandemic, so we're just now opening the borders. And the venue guy asked me, "It's like, man, Sam's getting trouble getting a work visa. Do you think we could smuggle him across the border?" Let me repeat that. I had a venue owner ask me if I could commit international crime and smuggle a greasy caveman over the border with Mounties. They are very strict up there.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette from wrestling can't even go to that state because he fought someone off at a wrestling fight. and you want me to commit international crime? I'm not getting mounted by a Mountie, sir. I'm not getting paid enough.
Mounted by a Mountie.
I've seen that video.
Me too. It's not too bad. Mounted by a Mountie 2 part doof is better. I like the cinematography.
I agree. Yeah, the money shots in that are.
We'll send you a link, Matt.
Dudley Do Right.
Well, and the sequel, Dudley Do Wrong.
Yeah.
Dudley does him. Ooh.
Dudley does wrong.
Canada, I would just like to apologize to you for whatever I said or whenever I said it. I am sorry.
But I just amazed sometimes I get the requests like, hey, yeah, just smuggle them across the border. Do I look? Yeah, I'm sorry. I left my Tom Cruise Mission Impossible suit in the van. Let me get on that. Let me
that would be so hot. You should wear that. You should wear that to our show.
I do it to the two things I don't recommend, but I do to bad crowds. One, if they're completely not listening, I bring up 101 good housekeeping jokes and I read them out, because if you're not going to give me respect, I'm not going to give you respect either. Two, if it's a small crowd and they're kind of paying attention, I will act like I'm Tom Cruise from Top Gun or Cocktail and say like that's why I'm doing comedy, because I failed as a fighter pilot jet. And I miss you, Goose. Let's go talk about my family. And like just stop. And it's hilarious. That's just me having fun. That's the times I like to have fun.
Wow.
See how many people get the references. You go all the way to like Mongolia and say like I was a self-help guru. It just didn't pan out. No, and see. And then I was gone in a simulation. And I was like, see if they get Vanilla Sky references. You just fuck with them. It's like you just see him and all. Is that Cocktail? What's that? I don't. Is he talking about Top Gun 2 now? I don't even. Is there a scene?
Top Cock. You mix both the movies together, Top Gun and Cocktails, and you get.
Man,
Top Cock.
I kind of look like his Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder too. I've got the fat, a little bit more inbred in the teeth, but we're working on that.
What was his part in The Outsiders? Whatever, whatever. He was just like a goofy kid in The Outsiders.
Tie and jacket.
I want to be Tom Cruise in Risky Business. Not because I like Tom Cruise at all, but Rebecca De Mornay in the prime of her life.
That movie did make Horan seem very cool. Like as a teenager, like all I need to do is get 3 or 4 brothel chicks. I need a Subway. If I can get a Subway, I can find the chicks. Boom, success.
Yeah.
And little did we know, that's a good way to get syphilis.
It made me feel like I was born too early. Like you know what? Maybe I should have been just a little bit later, and I could have had my own little brothel going on. What
was your teenage years? Was it like the 80s or the 70s, early 90s?
Early 70s.
Oh yeah, you just missed it. You missed it a little bit. The free love.
Well, it was crazy. My teenage years were the stories I've told before, but having my house raided by the FBI. My father was a bookmaker. My mother answered phone calls from him. So when the FBI came to take us and had the wiretap, they came and took my mother and father away. While I was in 9th grade, I came home from school. Mom and dad were both in FBI custody, and listening to tapes from my home telephone. And at the time, I was 13 years old, or 12 years old, and basically they were listening to tapes of me dealing LSD, and we're having my friends call up and say, yeah, I'm picking up 1,000 hits of LSD tonight. My mom and dad in FBI custody listening to tapes of me talking about picking up 1,000 hits of LSD and stuff. It was a different time.
Well, yeah, I mean, with my family, they would be proud of me. It's like, that's the way to move product, son. Get out there. Like, wow. I thought he was a 250 a week guy. Wow. I used to make that joke, and it just, I had a joke, like, it was not even really a joke. I guess that's why people didn't laugh at it, but I thought it was funny. My first job was a lookout, because my family was not as sophisticated as yours. I'll say that. We were chemists, but we were backyard chemists in the back of our trailer. So that was highly frowned upon. But our lost family had a good recipe, apparently. So I would sit out front, and if any snitch or cops go by, I would run inside to tell my parents.
Wow.
So they would have the ability to do what they had to do first.
Wow.
And it's a joke, but it's actually true. I lived in that environment where I knew what to say and didn't. And here's the only reason. I knew what orphanages were, and they didn't treat you that good. So my parents just treat me that much better for me to go, this is okay.
That's exactly how I felt growing up.
If you mess this up, Mom, all right, I'm gonna go. But she always kept it good. Like I had food in the house, roof over my head. I wasn't too upset. There wasn't too much love and caring go around. But come on, like it's not like that's going to be in the orphanage either. So like,
what I hate to put you like probe you. How old are you right now?
I'm 37.
All right, both of you guys fit into this demographic that I was trying to tell my wife about, and maybe it doesn't apply to you two guys, but I feel like your generation, I don't know if you're millennials or whatever, 35. There's an awful lot of 35-year-olds who never have never supported themselves and never lived off anywhere but off their parents. A lot of them, especially in this area, we have just tons of guys who never, males especially, who never had their own apartment, never once supported themselves. Do you agree with that?
I agree, and I actually have a somewhat explanation, my hypothesis and opinion about it all. I think this is a byproduct of seeing our families for generation give everything to a job and get nothing but a broken back and bills. And this has ruined the male spirit to the point. On top of being a male, and I know it's going to be poor white guy. I'm not saying we have it, but we're very blessed. But this is the trials and tribulations we have, and it seems a little weird. Being a male and being everything they want you to be sensitive while masculine, all this has taken so much of a toll on us that I feel that in some aspects, I hate to sound like a red, we are lost, but not in the way of masculinity or gender. We're lost in direction. What to do with our leadership, where to put this. All the noble professions we used to think of leaders has been discredited. It's not noble anymore. And all the things that we used to think is smart isn't smart, and it's dumb and you're wasting your time. So I feel like, if anything, I thought this happened, and this is just my opinion. Once we stopped caring about NASA or traveling out of space, we lost our fire. And it had nothing to do, just something to build and go and explore, learning something new. Now maybe we got the ocean, and we already saw what happened to that. It capsized. Like we've already explored everything we're looking at. We need a new challenge as a species. And I think we have it, environmental challenges, but they're not shown in a way to be rewarding to any shape, form that people want to do. You're not going to get fame. You're not going to get likes. You're not even going to get 500 followers on TikTok. Why do I care about doing this?
Right.
I'll play Call of Duty and have my little enjoyment while I can, because that's all life is really about. And I think we got stuck and complacent in that so much that this is the byproduct of it.
Wow.
It's the byproduct of seeing our grandfather go, well, you got to work for Betty Crocker.
Well,
and
here's
then at
what
60
they said.
years, they give you a watch and they don't even pay for your funeral.
The
It's
exact
sad.
quote from Grandpa was, and this wasn't my grandfather, this was just an old guy that I knew. Every day you got to get in your truck and go to work. That was that's what I was brought up on, that quote. Every day you got to get in your truck and go to work.
So my mom, son, the only person that's going to take you to work is you.
Right.
You don't need a car. You got 2 feet. I walked everywhere. I haven't had a license in many years. Somewhat environmentalist, huh?
You hurt.
I can't drive. I can't drive, and the state of Illinois has agreed with me on that many occasions.
Oh.
Like, I'm just not the best driver, and also I didn't realize until 2 years ago I was legally blind.
Wow.
When you're like,
so you think I'm good looking?
Yeah, you were pretty handsome, dude. Like, that mustache, you could see that blind. That's a
Wow.
good braille indicator.
Even a blind man. Wow.
But no, that's just my opinion on it. I think we need something like NASA or something where we can hold accolades. Right now, we're all just a bunch of grown men fighting on TikTok.
I think you're
if
onto
it's a twig
something with this
or a
idea
stick.
that they've watched generations. Your generation has watched generations do what was expected of them, only to end up with gold watch if you were lucky, and basically.
Well, you're missing even the key fact: the jobs that took those parents away to an early grave, that they had to work 60 hours a week, just to support their family, and they never got to see, and they died early, and they couldn't even afford anything afterwards. I'm sorry, but like after you see that, you're like, well, yeah, I'll call in and stay at home. Why does it matter? I'm
Right.
never going to own a house. The house market's ballooned to a point of that. Federal, every time I ask for more money, everywhere in the government says I am earning enough and I should pick myself up by the bootstraps, but I can't even. Top ramen keeps going up $1 every time I go to Dollar Tree, and that's not even a Dollar Tree anymore. It's just called the $5 tree. I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, we used to joke about that back in the 80s. Because a run to the local store would, at one point, you would just take a $5 bill. Then it became a $20 bill, then a $50 bill. Now I can't go out without $100.
Give a $20 person a $20 bill to a homeless to look at like, what? How am I going to eat today, sir? I can't even give the person a tip.
Yeah.
I can't even get Uber Eats and stuff like that. That's another thing. We always like to scapegoat and say, well, the reason I feel crummy must be another person's fault, and that keeps us dwindling. We have the means and resources to help everyone in this country, and we've been fooled that we don't. We
Right.
do. It's just the people in control of it keep saying mine, 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 and none for you.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
And the idea they're trying to float now. Somebody asked what is gaslighting, and they wanted a concrete example of gaslighting. Well, here's a good example. The idea that billionaires don't care about more money. How do you think they got to fucking be billionaire? You don't get to be a billionaire unless your prime focus is money your entire life. You wake up thinking about money. You go to sleep thinking about money. It's all money, 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 money. To say
That's how I troll the reps, though. The Republicans, I use it. Oh, so you don't like pronouns and people just tell. So is a corporation a person? Well, of course it's not a corporate. So why do you think that corporation's going to have feelings like a person? A corporation's only goal is max profits by any means. That's what its goal is as a corporation. You can't tell me, and there's never been a corporation, hey, I know we're making record profits, but let's limit it for the common man. No, it's not their job.
Right.
Their job as a corporation's max profits, stock market, and all that. So you're asking something that is not capable. What we need is business ethics and morals again. And it's my opinion, one side has systematically destroyed that for the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's just where we're at now.
Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, the takeaway from today is send your kids to community college.
At least.
Yeah.
It's like Six Flags. If you bring in a can of Coke, you get $20 off the first day of community college. You have to drink it first. But that's true. You just read the back of the Coke can. It says that.
All right. Well, we're over time. Thank you for being part of this. You're good to meet you and get to know you. I think if I were in Illinois or the surrounding Southern Illinois area, I'd be heading out to a Tim Loss comedy production quite soon. Thank you for being here. You're welcome back anytime. I enjoyed talking to you. And
you guys are awesome. Thank you for having me.
Have a good day.
Hanging out, buddy.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.
Tim Loss, folks. Tim Loss comedy. It's in scripting going across. A couple of things I wanted to bring up before we say goodbye here, Stephen. I know we're all running a little. Wait, you like me on the left? You like me on the right? You like me over here? You like me over there? So the gaslighting thing. Now Trump came out yesterday and said that he was Ukraine shouldn't have started the war. Ukraine was invaded by Russia. How they started the war by saying,
right,
we want to join NATO, or they started the war by saying we want control. We're not giving you part of our country. That's how dare you start a war like that?
Yeah,
it's like basically if Stephen said, Matt, I don't want you coming and taking my house, and I said come and take your house, I blame Stephen for starting that war.
Yep, my fault.
Yeah, fucking crazy, right? And
makes no sense.
They just follow along in lockstep. If Trump says Ukraine is responsible for starting a war, there's no question in it, which is really the other thing. Yesterday, somebody said they tried to call the vets hotline, crisis hotline, and they got basically a busy signal Like if you're you're thinking about committing suicide. You're calling the suicide prevention hotline that is set up for vets. We lose 22 vets a day, and you get a busy signal. Nothing says go ahead and do it like that.
Yeah, no shit. What?
Yeah. So I put out, people are free to call me. I got a couple. Already. One of the outreaches I got were from our friend Mr. John, who wants to come on the show and talk about the 22 vets who commit suicide every day. I think that number has changed, by the way. I don't know exactly what it is now. But yeah, you can't say you're pro-vet and take away some of these things you call wasteful spending are actually saving lives. And that one. So I think the least that people could do is say, if the government's not going to do it, I'll be there for you. Yeah, I do have some training in suicide. I worked the telephone lines for suicide prevention 35 years ago. So I had some training in that. I'm not going to say I'm a social worker in any way, but I'm a pretty decent listener. If you just want to call up and not have somebody judge you, you can call me. My lines, my number's in that post that I put on. But I did get a couple of calls yesterday, and one guy was actually angry with me for suggesting that they've actually cut the funding for and you don't. He was a Trumper, obviously. And you don't read the full story. They're not gutting the lines. They're just cutting the workforce. Well, if you're getting a busy,
There's nobody to answer.
Yeah.
You need someone to answer the phone.
Right. If you're ready to commit suicide and you get a busy signal or the police you're hoping to be your lifeline, the people who talk you off the ledge, do you care if they gutted the whole system or just the worker who was supposed to be answering your phone when you got that busy signal? You don't really care. The bottom line is there's not enough people to answer the phones for people who are desperately seeking help. And but so that the one call that sticks out is this one guy who was angry at me, and he wasn't in dire straits for himself. He was taking up my phone time that could have been for somebody who actually really
don't be a cuck. Don't tie up the lines being an asshole.
Yeah.
Drop a comment here if you want to do that. Just don't.
Yeah. And other people are saying I'm being patriotic. I'm not trying to. There's no patriotism. It's not about vets, and it doesn't just apply to vets. Anybody who really feels like, and I've done this, and I've taken some heat for it of talking to people who were online talking about committing suicide and have them call me, and then people, well, then now that Carl was one of these people who say I was just opening the door for them to abuse me, and it turned out he was right. In the case of the one guy we were talking about at that time, that guy just wanted to be on the show. He just wanted to be on the show, and he was using me, threatening to kill himself to get on the show. This is not a good thing. I hate to be cold on that stuff. So here we are. Do you have any shows? Now, Tim, when is that show that you're headlining?
April 18th.
Oh, that's a far way away.
Yeah.
But his family is going to make up the flyers for you. That's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, they already made the flyer. It's already out.
Wow, they already made the flyer. So where is it? Let's show the people. Oh, you can't.
It's on my socials.
All right. Well, send it to me so I can put it in the back end so we can show people and use it as a reminder for people. All right. I guess I guess this was not our last show. Maybe there'll be a show tomorrow. Who do we have for tomorrow, Johnny?
Tomorrow we have
Dominic Miserandino. I don't know what Dominic does. I forgot. I'll have to look that up. And then Friday, Chili Pepper. We have two guests on Friday. Chill Panic and Pepper Cat. Pepper Cat is a businesswoman turned adult video star. And Chill Panic is a DJ. I don't know exactly what he's a DJ record producer, independent record producer. So, but tomorrow, Dominic Massino, something, a really long Italian name that begins with an M. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you being here. All right.
What I'm here for.
All right. Do you miss Ron already? You miss him, don't you?
I miss Ron, but it's mostly from his sound effects.
Yeah. Oh, I got rid of all the sound effects too. You know what? I didn't do it out of spite. He used up all the room. So on the other night with your show, I could not put in all the videos because I had Ron's stuff and StreamYard saying you used up all your quota for media. So I got rid of them so that we could add more, especially for your show. Here's the thing I want to say about your show. Now, we need to test out the phone line thing. I have some things I'm going to send you today to maybe for you to look at. There's also a call-in studio service that I might buy that will cure this for a couple of things though. With these videos, try not to look at short form real videos, phone angle videos, but the full access videos.
Gotcha.
So when we put them on the screen, people can actually see what's going on.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So be able to blow it up full screen so people can see it. And the other thing, you notice, because I noticed this with you and Daniel Jackson's spirit medium. You're here, and he's here, and it kind of makes it look like just a head, your head in one video, and versus a body in the other one. So the trick to that is and what I have going here, I don't know if you could see, but I have 4 feet between me and the camera computer. Now it makes it hard to read the computer screen, and I had to put it like another table in front of my table to get this. But when I was working this thing out, it's like I'm too close to the camera. I got to keep getting back. That's a thing to consider. I think a lot of people do Zoom teleconferences and that they don't consider the aspect ratio. Make it look more like television, just to sit back a little bit. But I'll look forward to hopefully Monday night. Again, if people are confused about the inconsistency here, Stephen is not doing a conspiracy show, and he is asking tough questions of people who make exaggerated claims. And that's all I ask. It's just that if we're gonna make claims and say things, this is my opinion, this is what I believe, that's fine. If you want to say this is a fact, and if you don't believe it, you're an idiot, you better bring receipts. That's all I'm asking. All right. Thanks for being here. Got anything final thoughts on today?
No, man. Thought overall it was pretty good.
All right.
I guess that's just the phrase that pays is all that's left.
All right. I'm going to tell people to turn on their radio, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'm almost certain I'll be back tomorrow, unless I get struck by lightning or eaten by a chicken. All right. Have a good day. Turn on your radio. Bye for now.
listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.